opinion and carry in.
Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey, everybody. Welcome. A happy Monday. It's your boy, Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we get into all the latest celebrity news, gossip, entertainment news, anything that's going on and is trending in the world of entertainment and things of that nature. We talk about it on this here show. So, before we get to the following topics, I'm going to let y'all know what we're going to talk about in a second. Please do me a solid and hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And so some of the topics we're going to be talking about, we're going to, we have to give you an update on, Amanda Seales and the whole Club Shay interview. She is speaking out about it. Kanye is being sued yet again for being racist towards his black staff. Kylie Jenner, we're going to address those pregnancy rumors. She is denying that she's pregnant. I got my own theories. Doja Cat is telling people the fans, not to bring their mistakes, her words, not mine, to her shows. K. Michelle and Tamar Braxton are beefing. We're going to break that story down because I had a cackle when I saw that last night. Because I was like, oh, this is going to be a good one. Something on the show. Plus, Britney Spears' child is going through it. She apparently deleted her Instagram account. Insiders are claiming that she is completely unhinged. She is dysfunctional. And she's in serious danger of going broke. So we're going to talk about that. Plus, Diddy is talking about the word on the curb is Diddy planning on settling scores with some of the people who have gone silent as he faces his legal trouble. Child. She blowing a whole lot of smoke out her ass. Plus, Janet Jackson is revealing how she almost played she was almost cast in an X-Men movie. Plus, Chelsea Handler is addressing rumors, and I saw this floating around on social media, and I laughed the moment I heard it because I'm like, first of all, Maury done determined this was a lie. But we're going to entertain it. Chelsea Handler is addressing rumors. She is joining Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Cardi B has theories on she got some theories on homosexuality. We're going to talk about that. Plus, Ellen DeGeneres, speaking of homosexuals, Ellen DeGeneres is out here doing stand-up, which I told y'all about a couple of weeks ago. I was like, because somebody asked me, it was like, where's Ellen been? Wait, we haven't heard from her. I said, she's busy doing stand-up, but she confiscates y'all phones. That's why y'all ain't know about it. Well, the people that go to the show. The phones be getting confiscated. That's why nobody knew what was going on, but Rolling Stone went to one of her shows. They did a whole expose on the show and everything she talked about in the stand-up situation. So we're going to break that down and talk about it here. And she said that it's basically, her being kicked out of show business, not once but twice, because this is the second time, how it's taken a toll on her ego. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Plus, Madonna's in Rio, child. See, this was part of the show, but Madonna is in Rio. She just touched down in Rio 2 hours ago. So, well, I should say a couple of hours. I'll be on the safe side and say that. So we're going to talk about that and some theories and things that I've heard, and we're going to break all that down. So those of you Madonna fans, don't be scared to chime in and talk about, if you want to talk about what's going on and with all of that. But once again, before we get started, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button, and share the show, do all that good stuff, so that way when we go live with a brand new episode. Let me hit my banner. And without further ado, there is a story that I want to get into, some movie news with Sony, before we get to the big main topics. And that is Kraven the Hunter is supposed to be coming out. And there's a Karate Kid reboot that's coming out, but they've been pushed back by Sony. And I'm not surprised at all that this is all going on. So I'm like, what am I doing? Oh, I'm trying to pull up a little something. So give me a second, because I want to pull up the picture. Okay, there we go. And now we can get started with the article. So now, word on the street is that, well, it's been confirmed, I think yesterday, Kraven the Hunter is apparently seeking new hunting grounds, with the Aaron Taylor Johnson star taking a release date just vacated by the Karate Kid. The reboot to the Karate Kid will now be released on May 30th of 2025. Now, according to Deadline, the Aaron Taylor Johnson movie will have IMAX and PLF screens. Kraven the Hunter will be the only R-rated movie during the holidays. Now, directed by J.C. Chandor, it will go up that frame against Warner Brothers' animated Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohan, I think is how you say it. But anyway, it says the plus here on Karate Kid's move. The movie will now follow the sixth and final season of Cobra Kai, which was delayed due to the strike. The summer date will see 50% K to 12 out on its opening day with great family film spacing. Warner Brothers has the weekend reserved for an untitled movie. Through 5 movies, the Karate Kid cinema franchise counts north of $620 million worldwide. Now, added to the release calendar is the Blumhouse title They Listen, which will now go over the 4-day Labor Day weekend this year. The only other wide entry over the holidays is roadside attractions Mohit Ramchandani's directed title City of Dreams. Debuting next summer is legendary Sony animated pick Animal Friends on August 15, 2025, featuring the voices of a bunch of celebrities or whatever. And then there's Timur Bekmambetov's sci-fi Chris Pratt, Rebecca Ferguson movie Mercy is supposed to be coming out on August 15, 2025. So they're doing a bunch of shuffling and moving around and all this other stuff. But here's what I got to say on this. First of all, I have no faith in Kraven the Hunter. I know there's some people that's out here trying to have a little faith in the franchise or potential franchise or anything. But here's the thing. For me personally, any Sony Spider-Verse type of film that they've done, I have not liked any of them. I didn't like any of the Venoms, even though I am a fan of Tom Hardy, but I'm not a fan of any of the Venoms. I didn't like either one, and I know they have the third coming out, directed by somebody who ain't never directed a movie. But you know what, Sony, y'all want to give people them type of risks? Go ahead and watch the movie. Well, I'm sure the movie will do well because of Tom Hardy and everything else, but I don't know. I just feel like, for me personally, I didn't like them. Madam Web, you couldn't even, you could put a gun to my head and pull the trigger, and I still won't watch that damn film. Even though the other day I was hanging out with a friend of mine, and we were celebrating another friend, my friend Brandon's birthday, and my other friend who was there was saying, "Oh, y'all should just watch the movie just to see how bad it is." I was like, child, no, I cannot. Like, I've done that enough in my lifetime where I have sat and hate watched movies. I did that with Rebel Moon, The Scar Giver. Like, I hate watch that movie. But actually, I'll be honest, the Scar Giver movie, I just had that on in the background as I was working on articles for my website. So I didn't even really, like, I would glance up every now and again, and I was so irritated by a lot of the beats of that film, the character decisions, and the ridiculously overuse of the slow-mo, especially during the sequences where you're sure, like, how you got somebody with an axe killing people and then they got guns shooting lasers like this is fucking Star Wars and none of them shits hit him. So it was just a lot of there was a lot of decisions. I don't know if well, clearly they didn't think any of it through regarding that script, which is why probably Netflix gave them whatever money, because that's what they do. But I don't like any of those films. What else? Morbius. I already went to the movies with the same friends to go see that film, and I'm still pissed off about that because that movie was just god awful. So anything that's been Spider-Verse related, without Spider-Man being a part of it, I have not had any faith, especially with Sony. Now, I'm not going to hold them. They do brilliant with the animated stuff. Like, I loved, the Into the Spider-Verse and all those, and the sequel. I love those type of films. They've done a phenomenal job with that. As far as the live action Sony stuff, it's all been turds. And I don't care how much fucking money the movie makes. If the movie is bad, it's bad. But I hate when people always try to, just stick with, oh, but it made some, but does that mean that it's good though? It's the same thing I say about music. Just because, your favorite artist released an album and it's breaking all these records, but I'm like, at the end of the day, does that album stand the test of time? It's the same thing with the movies. But as far as like the Karate Kid goes, I do think it was smart on their part to move that up earlier, especially to coincide with the final season of Cobra Kai, because the new movie is supposed to feature Jackie Chan as the Mr. Miyagi character, which he played in the remake with Jaden Smith, and then you have Ralph Macchio is going to be in the Karate Kid reboot movie, as well as the Cobra Kai series, which is finally coming to an end. I'm not saying that to be shady. I actually love the Cobra Kai franchise. I love the first 2 Karate Kid movies. I didn't particularly care for all the ones that came after that and the little spin-offs and all the other things they tried to do. The remake with Jaden Smith was okay. Like, I saw it once when I was younger, but other than that, I'm just like, okay, it's not something that I run back to. Like, it wasn't that long ago, maybe about a year ago, I actually watched the original Karate Kid and the sequel when they went to Okinawa. So I love those films with Pat Morita and Ralph Macchio, the original 80s versions. So I say all this to say, you know what? I'm not surprised about Kraven the Hunter. They dumped it in at the end of the year. Didn't they do the same thing with their rival, which would be MCU? Well, no, Warner Brothers, with oh my God, what's the movie? Aquaman. Aquaman 2 with Jason Momoa. They dumped that. They moved that around so many times, and then they finally dumped it at the end of the year during the holidays. And that movie was a turd. I watched it and I was like, this movie is horrible. Even though I like Jason Momoa, it just wasn't a good movie. So I say all this to say, okay, you moved Craven, whoop de doo, and I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, but for the most part, I don't see the movie doing well at the box office. I don't see it making a lot of money, and I feel like I may not be the only one in regards of people who like superhero movies and all this other stuff that have completely lost faith in the Sony Spider-Verse type of films. Like every movie, y'all just think just because it's a superhero, we just gonna support it. It's like, no. And that's why a lot of people say, oh, y'all got superhero fatigue. No, we don't have superhero fatigue. I'll always support a superhero movie. I have mediocrity fatigue. So if you're gonna give me a mediocre superhero movie, yeah, I'm gonna be irritated and I'm tired of those. But I'll never be tired of a superhero movie. Like I'm really excited to see Deadpool and Wolverine, which I just heard they're doing reshoots on this movie. I'm like, the movie comes out in 2 months. Wait, we're about to be in May and what? In 2 days? So that's like, yeah, about 2 months. And you're doing more reshoots on Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't think that's a bad thing. It's probably just a couple of tweaks, and they probably just came up with some ideas at the last minute they want to add in. The movie's going to do well regardless. A lot of people have been very receptive to the trailers that we've gotten. So I don't think people were too upset about, like, if you can do a reshoot. And look, Sean Levy, I'm sure, has worked pretty quickly. Like they were pretty much shooting and editing the film and adding the effects and everything as it was going on because of the writer's strike and all the other stuff they were up against. So I don't think that it's gonna be too much to ask. But maybe it's probably like a week of shooting. And then some people they're doing special effects and stuff at the last minute. And plus on top of that, here's another thing. Special effects houses are kind of hungry for material. A lot of them aren't really working because there's not a lot of stuff, like a lot of superhero or action movie or stuff, that kind of content that requires a lot of special effects to be added to films. 2025 is a different story. There's a lot of movies that's coming out that just going to need they're going to be busy, a lot of special effects houses. But 2024 is slim pickings. Not a lot of movies coming out. Not a lot of superhero movies coming out. So I'm sure a lot of the houses will be willing to work tooth and nail to get everything done the way they needed to get done and have it done before the release date. So I'm not that upset or too worried. But I think they're doing all those reshoots and stuff because they probably have some ideas and they want to add more stuff into the movie to kind of tighten it up a little bit, especially when there's been so many rumors and leaks and spoilers and things coming out regarding who's going to make a cameo and all. So it's probably like extra cameos or whatever. I don't know, but I'm just looking forward to the movie with that. I know this is about Craven, but we already know Craven gonna be a piece of shit. But we'll just slide Deadpool in. But anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. Are y'all excited for this new Craven movie? Did y'all really want another Karate Kid movie? I mean, I don't mind Karate Kid because there'll be that nostalgia. I am a Jackie Chan fan. Like I've always loved his movies and stuff. Police Story, Drunken Master, all that stuff. And in regards to that nostalgia, I already get the nostalgia from Cobra Kai. But if they've got a really good story that they want to add to this reboot, then I'm here for it. So ain't no complaints in me there. Okay, so now let's go from this story and let's give an update on this whole Amanda Seales story. So we talked a little bit about it on the last show that we did. I think it was Thursday. I did I think it was Thursday was the last time I did a show. So I gave myself a little 3-day weekend because I've been busy and stuff. But you know what? She is talking because a lot of people was going in on Shannon Sharpe and how he kept trying to diminish Amanda's experience as a Black woman in America, especially when it was going on with her, especially when she was talking about as a kid how she was called all kind of racial slurs and said the only reason why you being a part of this trip is because you're Black and all this other stuff. So it was a lot of affirmative action type mess, and these kids were being like real mean racist a-holes. And I said from the beginning, like, yeah, kids, racism is a taught behavior. Bigotry in general is a taught behavior. Nobody comes out the womb being discriminated against marginalized people, whether you're black, whether you're, Asian, whether you're any person of color or sexual orientation, that sort of thing. That is taught by the people you're surrounded by. So it could be your parents. It could be you go into people's houses and you hear stuff from your friends' parents or the people that's in that, in your cipher. And you being a kid is not an excuse for you speaking and saying racist, ignorant, bigoted stuff to someone who looks and is different than you. And so he kind of just chalked it off, but they just kids, because Shannon Sharp always taught like he didn't graduate the third, he didn't make it past the third grade. That's how he be talking sometimes. But a lot of times because he's a football player and he, has found a way to slip into this entertainment space, podcasting space where he's interviewing celebrities. Just because you have that platform doesn't mean that you have the mental bandwidth to be able to have an intellectual conversation with someone who clearly is far more intelligent than you are. And it's no shade to Shannon, or maybe there's a little bit, but he just don't give me like he's very bright as a person. It could be the CTE or he was just born dumb. Some people don't have the gift. It just is what it is. So she ripped him for turning his Club Shay Shay podcast into an interrogation after she said she was diagnosed with autism. Now, following the viral interview, the cultural commentator has now voiced her disdain for how the sit-down was conducted. Seals took to Instagram a day after her episode premiered, claiming she felt interrogated by Sharp, whom she believes has zero love for her as a guest. She shared these views after receiving backlash for stating that she was diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum, and later revealing she never has been clinically diagnosed by a physician. And she said, because he asked her if she had been clinically diagnosed, and she said, yes, there is a clinical diagnosis for autism. She reiterated her conversation from the interview on her IG story. He then hung his head and exhaled in frustration because I did not answer his question. That is called deflection, she explained on her response to him. Why? Because I was not going to be pressured by this man who was interrogating me with absolutely zero love for me into proving something to him that by his line of questioning, he had already committed to undermining. She added, I understand my response may be confusing to some, but I'm clarifying it as I did on my live, and that is enough. Now, the portion of the Club Shay Shay interview in question took place when Seals was asked about her well-being, to which she responded that she's evolving and has been receiving a lot of information that a lot of slander at the same time. Further detailing what she meant, she explained, in the past month it's just been very difficult time, but there's been really beautiful things that have come out of it. I was recently diagnosed as someone who has autism spectrum disorder, which is very difficult to identify in Black women because of racism. What it typically means is that your brain functions in a different way, so you're neurodivergent. And you also have certain tendencies that are considered outside of what the neurotypical way of thing is. And a lot of times that can have you present in a manner that people misrepresent, which is the story of my effing life. She has also uploaded a video of her explaining that her self-diagnosed autism spectrum disorder is not up for debate, while calling out Black media again for discrediting her. Yet another Black space, because there is such a dedicated effort to degrade me and defame me, it is beyond my scope of comprehension, wants to suggest that because my autism diagnosis didn't come from a clinician, that is not valid. What's not valid is people speaking on things that they don't know about. And you know what? With that, some people would actually feel like she's speaking on something that she's not privy to, because it's like a lot of times people will say, well, how are you clinically diagnosing yourself when you haven't been clinically diagnosed by a doctor? And to that, I say people clinically diagnose themselves all the time. Because it's funny how when she said it on social media, everybody was with her regarding the diagnosis until she revealed she didn't go to the doctor. Then they changed their tune. Then it turned on her. But if you actually do your research and then you hear things like, and you self-assess yourself, and you're at a point in your life where you know yourself inside and out, which it is a known fact that women mature faster than men do. Women mature I believe in their early 20s. Men, it takes us about what, 25, like mid 20s, to fully um come into our own as men, or to like for our brain to fully be formed. And I think it's because, over the years, a lot of men, are into sports and all this other stuff, which is probably why their brains is all kind of fucked up. Because it's like when you get your kids in sports and playing football and all these other games at such a young age, that does do something to your brain, especially when your brain is still developing. And I feel like, me personally, like when I was just thinking about this of what she was saying, because I don't want to be like everybody else where y'all so quick to go in on somebody or just turn on them and call them all type of name, like you ain't credible, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. I want to always try to look at both sides of the situation and come to my own assessment and understand both sides of the coin. The people that were kind of going at her and where Amanda was coming from. But I feel like, we as a society have been conditioned to believe that medical professionals are always right. And yeah, because they go to school and they spend all those years in debt and going to school and learning and getting that medical degree and all that other stuff and training. We aren't conditioned to believe that medical professionals are always right and not to question their judgment, but they're human too at the end of the day. And, let's bring up also that there have been a multitude of reported biases and mixed diagnoses towards, or noses, as I should say, to be all fancy with it, towards people of color, especially towards Black women. For example, this was a couple of weeks ago this was brought up. Halle Berry, who was an Academy Award winner and probably has way more money than Amanda Seales and has access to a doctor, went to a doctor. And they told her she had herpes. But she didn't have herpes. And this was 3 years ago. But she was going through menopause. Her body was transitioning, going through menopause, and they diagnosed it as herpes. So we're not going to sit up in here and act like that Black women don't get misdiagnosed, and then there's biases from doctors where a lot of their best interests at heart. There was a whole segment they did on Married to Medicine about that. And one of the doctors, I don't remember their name because I don't really watch Married to Medicine like that. But except I know Dr. Heavenly because she's the only one that got the biggest damn mouth on that show and always talking shit about everybody. So that's how I know her. But there was one of the doctors that was on, I think it was Simone or one of them. But anyway, she was like, she had the Zoom call with Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris. And she was talking about how she wanted to be that type of doctor that wants to really help Black women and all this other stuff, because a lot of Black women do get misdiagnosed. Sidebar, we ain't gonna even though she did say all of that, and then all that tea came out about her and how she was being, she was saying some shit about Black women. So there was a whole drama with that situation. So it's like, well, damn, I can't, like, I understand where you was coming from, but then damn, they was sitting up in here reading you for some stuff that you said. I don't remember the stuff off the top of my head because, it's a lot of stuff I got to pack up in this brain when it comes to celebrity news and gossip and topics. But just know that she did come under fire over some stuff that she said. So I feel like at the end of the day, figure out what works for you. If you hear symptoms of things, I'm like, you know what? These symptoms are similar to things that I've been going through, and this makes sense to me. So I could be on the autism spectrum. What's wrong with saying that? So my feelings and everything is invalid unless a doctor clinically diagnoses me, especially when, like I just said, doctors misdiagnose people all the time. But at the end of the day, like I said, figure out what works for you. You can afford to spend 10 grand on an ASD diagnosis, then go ahead and do that. But also do your research and get multiple medical opinions if you can afford to do that as well. Now, as for Shannon, I will say he's more interested in going viral than having a legitimate conversation with celebrities he's invited on his podcast. I did feel, during the interview at times that he will push back on some of Amanda's lived experiences, especially when it came to making excuses towards the white kids that were racist towards her. Now, Shannon may have gotten quite lucky jumping into the podcasting space, but if you don't have the bandwidth to go toe-to-toe with an intellect such as Amanda Seales, then maybe you need to jump out of the pop culture pool and stay in your sports lane. So overall, that's how I feel on that. And, I will say this, friend of the show, RHOBH, did send me, well, he posted in one of the comments when I did make these separate segments about Amanda Seales that you could watch up instead if you don't want to sit through the whole 2.5-hour episode that I did the other day. I did cut up some of the segments and it's uploaded on the page. when I was talking about one of Amanda Seals, and he did allude to me that there is that Amanda's former assistant talked about the Club Shay Shay interview and talked about that she's not the nicest person and all this other stuff. So I have not watched that episode yet. I will get around to it. I've just been busy doing a lot of stuff, but trying to catch up on things and getting ready for the show and coming up with all the information. But I know he did tell me about that one of her assistants former assistants who had a bad experience with her is spilling all kinds of tea. And I wish I would have watched it so I could have told y'all what it is, but I'll watch it. I'll get around to it later on today. But yeah, so Amanda, you know what? You keep doing you. I did hear Funky Daniva mentioned that he's supposed to be interviewing or doing a sit down with Amanda next month. And he was talking about, well, I'm gonna have to watch the Club Shay Shay interview and not make my interview similar to his. So I don't know why I say I don't know. You know what? Now I'm thinking about it. Look at his episode and ask the same questions, because at least you can come at it from a different perspective versus Shannon Sharp questions, and he kept combating and going against everything that she was saying just about. So you can ask the same questions and add your own finesse or whatever to it, or just add extra questions and things instead of just doing it that way, instead of just being like, oh, well, now I don't want my show to come out as a carbon copy of what was happening before, of what someone else did. So I'm actually curious and looking forward to that interview that he's going with her. But you know what? Amanda is somebody who's just real, stuck in her beliefs, and she's strong in a lot of what she says. And I love somebody who stands 10 toes down on what they believe, whether you want to believe it or not. But anyway, good luck to you, girl. Before we get to the rest of the things, I was like, I wanted to address, since I don't know if there's any Madonna fans in the room, but Miss Mamas is in Rio right now, so I'm excited. She's getting ready to do the last date of the celebration tour. She's doing a special show. I was watching the MOVC podcast, Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone. And Stefan, who does the show, he always interviews people who went to the show and all this other stuff, and he was dropping some gems. So he said that the word on the street is she's adding 3 new songs to the set list versus what she did with the celebration. So I kind of wish she would have added songs from that on the previous show, but on the show that I went to. But I understand, like, it was go time. You were just getting over being sick, and she was still recovering as she went on the tour, and she was being a trooper and really pushing through. And I don't know if Madonna is 100% physically yet, but I did love the fact that, when she was in Mexico City, that she had Salma Hayek come out on the last official Mexico City date. I was hearing stories of how she was getting real candid with the audience in regards to talking about, like, all her friends. Like, she was talking about how death has always followed her, from her mother to all of her friends who died, Keith Haring and so many other celebrity friends that have passed over the years that she knew. And then I guess from her illness and her damn near dying. And then also how she talked about how she traveled to Mexico to bring drugs over to America to help, a lot of her friends who were dying of AIDS. So I didn't even know a lot about that type of stuff. So I was like, it was good to hear that type of stuff. And I'm hoping that is incorporated in the concert film, which I feel like after this Rio show, which I'm really hoping and praying that somebody has, whoever's going to be out there, many of you fans, whatever, have your phones good and charged and record this entire tour so I can watch it, because I want to see this damn show. Because unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to watch it because of the whole, I don't have the channel or whatever, and I'm not paying for another damn streaming service. Because a friend of mine was asking me how can he stream it, and he said that he went on the channel or whatever that it's supposed to be broadcasting on. He got to pay. I was like, I ain't paying for another damn service. So I'm hoping that with some real cool person will take, like they did this tour, and put it on YouTube so I could see it. But anyway, so they were talking about that she's adding 3 songs and stuff. And I was sitting there thinking, because what Stefan had asked through the show, I was like, you know what, let me do my own version. So what songs would I love to see Madonna perform? One, I need her to perform music because I'm like, how you do this tour and you don't do music? I would have liked for her to close out with music, but I think I've had this conversation before on the show with it probably was Felix or somebody where I was just saying like, um, maybe she's closed out with music before, and that was during the Drown World tour. But you can switch it up, like she always remixes and reverses her songs and switches it up or whatever. So I would have loved to have seen her bring that. So I'm hoping that's a choice that she brings on. Also, I don't know how you had the Celebration tour and you ain't do Celebration. Like that don't make no damn sense. You called the Celebration tour, and we should have been saying, "Come join the party, it's a celebration." Like we should have been doing that damn song. That should have been a part of it. Hopefully, that'll be like the closer of songs. But she's already closed with that song during what was it? The MDNA tour, the Sticky and Sweet? I think it was the MDNA tour. She closed out on with that song. But I'm like, girl. You can close out with that song again, or have that be the encore, the second to the last track. And I feel like the third and final song that she should do. I don't know. Well, I do. I did say the other day that I want to hear "Who's That Girl." So, maybe she could add that, or if not, can we get a brand new song? Because Madonna, we know you've been working with Max Martin in the studio. We saw the pictures and stuff online. How y'all are having writing sessions, and you've been working with him on a lot of stuff. And Max Martin is a genius. So, especially like when it comes to producing and all that other stuff, and I would definitely love to hear the type of creativity that whatever they cooked up in the studio. Because I know, even though he did have a bit of a misfire with Ariana Grande with Yes and he did work on a lot of this new album. But like I've had conversations with people before. I don't even think Ariana Grande wanted to do this album. I feel like that this was a label obligation that she just put this record out because she didn't really promote it. She was just like, I'm not doing no videos. I'm gonna just give y'all a yes and then the whole album, y'all just gonna have to take it in and embrace it. And I don't even think the album did that. I think it did well amongst her fans, but it's kind of like nobody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about Taylor Swift now. That's all everybody want to talk about. So I haven't heard anything regarding her, but I think she's more focused on this relationship with that married man and Wicked, that's supposed to be coming out. She's gearing up to deal with that. I don't even think she's thinking about this Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind album. So that's what I feel like I need. I need, the three songs I gave y'all. I need Madonna to also, I don't know, it's probably gonna take them a couple of months to edit and put this thing together. I don't need too many, whistles and all this other stuff and slow-mos and all that, because when y'all overproduced her tour, that kind of irritated me, especially that last tour that y'all recorded. I didn't particularly care for the Madam X tour, and I didn't care for the one before that. It was what was it, the Rebel Heart? I did not like the edits on the Rebel Heart tour. It was just too slow mo, and it was just too many weird. It was just too many things that they were adding, and then I'm like, it's taking me out of the experience. Like I want that real feeling of like actually being there at the show. Like you can give us like really cool cuts and capture all the moments of the costumes and the choreography and all those things. Like pick really good shots, and I do believe that Jonas Akerlund is going to be putting this together because he's been traveling with her a lot, especially like when there's been recordings. I know they did record some stuff in New York, they did record some stuff in LA, but I believe the only reason why they're settling on the 5 days that she did in Mexico City because the energy was unlike any other place. I feel like in America, I hate to admit it, but I do feel like we take our idols for granted. I feel like we know at the end of the day that those celebrities are always going to come and they're going to perform at our establishments, and we're always going to have the money, and we're going to find a will and a way to go see them and support them. Like we know Madonna's always going to come and perform in New York because she always feels like New York is basically her home away from home. I mean, even though she does live here, but she's a Michigan girl, but she always feels like New York is her true home. So I already know like she's gonna come here. And I think at times, yeah, I do take her for granted because I know she's gonna perform here. Whereas people in European countries, when you go overseas, be it, if you go to Spain or Paris or these other places, there's no guarantee that she's going to perform in those establishments. There's no guarantee that she's going to do Mexico City. So when she shows up there and the energy of the audience is unlike anything she's experienced on the US and the other legs on her tour, I can see why she's like, well, fuck these other places. Let's just give it to, this energy is unlike any of the energy that I've experienced, and I'm definitely feeling it. And you're giving me the energy that I need to get through this show, then you appreciate it more. And seeing Salma Hayek show up on the last night dressed as Frida Kahlo, who you know is Madonna's one of her favorite painters, um, I was like, first of all, that's my Virgo twin because she and I was born the same day. She's September 2nd. I'm September 2nd. Cat Williams is September 2nd, and Keanu Reeves is September 2nd. So those are my Virgo siblings because we born the same day, September 2nd. So that's why I cherish them even more, especially Salma Hayek. And then she was up there looking good. That waist was snatched. And she looked the part. She had like the Frida Kahlo look up top and then the skirt. And then the top part where she had the bra on and the little jacket, it was giving vintage Madonna from back in the 80s. So I actually love that look. And I love the fact that, you know what, because her husband owns a couple of fashion houses, she has access to the fashions and really coming in and being that fashion girl. So that's good on Selma part. See, a lot of us, we intellects and we Virgos, we do overthink everything. So don't think she didn't think about that look when she showed up there. And I know a lot of people was suspecting Christina Aguilera, maybe some Mexican drag queen, somebody else will show up. And it's another thing too. I really hope they incorporate a lot of the drag queens, like especially when they do the Vogue number and they juxtapose that into the show. Like I do want to see. I hope they cut it sort of like the unapologetic bitch segment of the Rebel Heart tour, where you have all the celebrities and stuff there, like the Ricky Martin, all the other people that showed up. And I hope y'all do show that boy putting his face all up in Ricky crotch. Like incorporate that because Madonna's a naughty girl, so she's gonna want to have that up in there. But I really hope that they show all the drag queens and stuff too, because Vogue, ballroom, all that other stuff comes from the trans community, drag, gay culture and stuff. So you want to incorporate those drag race girls and a couple of other drag queens that they had. Because I also heard they had Pixie Aventura up there, who is a New York queen, which didn't make sense why they had her on the Mexican leg. You could have had her up there during the Kelly Ripa one. We didn't want her up there. You could have put Pixie up there. Like we know who she is. She's one of the, she is a prominent drag queen in the New York scene. So I would have preferred to have her up there for that. So I don't know. I wanted this whole Madonna rant. I don't. That wasn't planned, but I'm just saying that, you know what, I'm really excited for this whole Rio tour. I'm glad that the Brazilians are going to actually get to see this show. I did see some of the they're already setting up the stage and stuff, and it's about the place that they are building is huge. I know I have some friends of mine who are big Madonna fans that are kind of worried in regards to like the security, like how is the security thing? But I'm sure, like, you know what, Madonna has been around for 4 decades. She and her people are not stupid in a way where they're going to be thinking, okay, so we need to make sure that security is up to the nines, especially since this is a free show. I'm sure people, even though they're building the stage now, people are already camped out there, ready to, get first come, first serve dibs to the stage and to see this iconic show and this iconic moment. And so what I'm hoping is after this whole thing is done, the tour, that at least Madonna will put together not only the tour, which I know we're going to get visually. It's probably going to end up on Paramount Plus. But also, I want a documentary, which is like, okay, her getting back into the fix of things, putting this tour together, getting back out there and really performing it. Because I feel like that's what the fans really want to see. We want to see, like, after her being in the hospital, and guy coming to her like, okay, so sis, you going on tour now? Like, I hate the way that it comes out like because it just makes it seem like, okay, look, we got obligations. I know you sick, you damn near at death's door, but are we gonna have to cancel dates and you're gonna do the show or whatever? And Madonna being the icon, the trooper that she is, she's not gonna take no for an answer. She's gonna get up there and she's gonna do what needs to be done in regards to putting, making this show happen. Because she wasn't trying to pay all them fines and stuff for having to cancel all these venues she already booked. So I would love to see her have her Rocky moment, which is sort of like getting her, pulling herself up by her bootstraps and really getting out there and getting back into the fix of things and getting this tour up and running. Because I feel like that would really humanize her. Because we've seen the elements of Madonna being humanized on the tour. Like we've really gotten this side of her that we've never gotten before. Because she always tries to come across as like this hardened, strong woman, warrior that she will show vulnerability when she's performing and all those others at time. But I feel like we've never seen Madonna this vulnerable, this appreciative, this nostalgic, like really taking it all in and being in the moment. So that's what I really appreciated about, being able to see this tour, especially the final night of her New York stint, because, it's always when it's the final night, that energy is different than, okay, I'm doing 3 or 4 shows prior. So probably the first show and the last show is always like, you'll really get the energy and the essence of that person. So I hope we get, we get a documentary and we get the tour. I would say like maybe like a Truth or Dare type of thing, release that in the theater. But I don't know if they're going to try to do all of that. And then, I want to see, I'm just looking forward to seeing this tour, but I feel like they need to release that really soon, like before the end of the summer. That tour needs to come out. Don't have people wait 9 months, because you need to have that whole capture that moment. And then when that tour stuff comes out, when it finally comes out for us to watch, then it needs to be announcement of like new music or whatever, because it's been a minute. I think it's been almost 5 years since Madam X. Like, it's time for some new music. We need, to show like, okay, so now you look back on your life, and now it's like, okay, so this is a capture in time of like your life of 40 years in the business. Where are we go? What's the next step? What is the next ideas that you have in regards of pushing music forward? Because the people who don't support Madonna, we ain't talking about y'all. We talking about those who actually love and are her truest of fans. We want new music. I want new music. I know I do. So I definitely want to hear what she's been working on with Max Martin. And I really hope that soon, rather than later, because this tour is about to wrap up in the next couple of days with this Rio show, that we get new music. So get to it, sis. We love you over here. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story down below. I know I created a whole separate topic. This wasn't part of the episode, but I was like, I was just thinking about it and talking about it, and then I saw it was trending, so I was like, let me just talk about it. But I definitely want to know what you guys think, down below. Okay, so I do see I got some comments. Oh, look, Robert's in the building. He says he directed the Confessions tour, which won the Grammy. Well, yeah, that's why I'm glad she went back there, because first of all, I love the Confessions tour and the way he shot that show, like the slow-mo parts, especially during the erotica. Like, I love that remix of erotica, when You Thrill Me and that sort of thing, where he picks up, and then it's like the part when the dancer picks up, I think it was Jason, picks it up in the air, and then it like goes into the slow-mo moment. So it's like Jonas knew when to add in the effects to effectively move the show forward. So that's what I want from this tour, instead of the overproduction of Rebel Heart. He said, Madonna, 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 Madonna. It was reminiscent of her Sticky and Sweet tour in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Oh, you talking about the way everybody was chanting. It says, I hope a calendar of the artwork and some shots of the show. The image of Nothing Really Matters is very iconic. And yeah, and I actually love that she opens the show with that. But my issue with this tour is that this is the first time where I feel like the Celebration tour did not have that strong closing track. Unapologetic Bitch is not a strong closer. And I feel like maybe she needs to kind of look at something like a Music or whatever. Like, that's a good closer. I mean, even though she's closed with it before, but it's like, you need that strong closing song. And I just don't feel like this tour has given that. He said, I want to slap that kid that basically says she's dead and dearly departed. That is rude and just downright need to send Gen Z to time travel today. I don't pay them any mind of the foolishness of these people who aren't appreciative of the impact that Madonna has had on music, pop culture, that sort of thing. And, everybody's so quick to tell me, oh, she can't sing. And I was like, she's never made any, she's never come out and said like that she could blow like an Adele or an Aretha Franklin or, one of those girls. Like, Madonna is an artist at the end of the day who uses music to push her art out into the world. So that's what that is. It has nothing to do with, oh yeah, singing songs, whatever. That's the way I look at music and all the other stuff. Like, no, you know what? Everybody ain't just up in here just trying to use their voice to sing a bunch of songs and get a check. Like, there's some people who use music and visual arts and all the other stuff and performing as performance art. And I feel like Madonna is a performance artist. But because she is this global pop star, icon, whatever, people don't look at it that way. But those hardcore fans of hers, and me being included, we see that. We see the fact that she is more than just, the songs and others. It's the artistry behind it. And every song that she chooses and the visuals and everything, there's always a meaning behind the costumes and the screens that have certain visuals and all these other things that's on there. So he says Shout Factory announced a remastered version special edition of Who's That Girl in July. I do love that song. ¿Quién es esta niña? We all know, we know a new album is suspended because it was supposed to be issued before the tour, but we all know she realized she can't do 10 things at once. Plus, some scenes make her look like the stage swallowed her. Is it because the amount of dancers and stuff she has on the stage, or this? I mean, look, I will say this has got to be one of her smaller sets that I've seen her do. Like, as far as the stage setup goes, this is not the most extravagant of stages. I mean, when you look at the Beyoncés and the Taylor Swifts, they're all doing what Madonna did like a decade or two ago, where she had these extravagant stages. Now it's like she's going another way and she's downsizing. Which to me, I feel like less is more. It's like, oh, I can give y'all a simple stage, but there's so many other things going on that y'all can pay attention to. I don't need to give y'all, all these crazy props or whatever the case is. No shade to the ones that wants to do that, but it's like I've been there, done that. Like I've done all kinds of crazy stages where she had during the MDNA tour, the stage was moving and adjusting and all this other stuff, but she had to be, on point, make sure her ass didn't fall off the stage or whatever. So there's a lot of movie, a lot of crazy moving parts. And she had like the conveyor belt, where she had that on the stage during the reinvention tour. So it was just like there's so many things that she's always tried out, and she's done, broken boundaries when it comes to, how a stage show is set up. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about Kanye, who apparently is racist against his own people. Well, actually, I would say prejudice, because I don't think black people can be racist against another group of people. You can't oppress people, but I guess we're just gonna have to start calling Kanye massa. But anyway, so he's facing allegations from a former security guard that he subjected black employees to less favorable treatment than their white counterparts. Now, according to a complaint obtained by Page Six, Benjamin Deshawn Provo, who worked as a security guard at Donda Academy, is accusing a rapper of berating black employees and firing him for refusing to cut his locks. Kanye and members of his management team subjected Provo and other black employees to less favorable treatment than their white counterparts. The suit, which Complex independently verified was filed on Friday, April 26, alleges specifically Kanye frequently screamed at and berated black employees, while in contrast, he never so much as raised his tone of voice towards white staff. Provo reportedly began, well, I guess unless you're Jewish, then, that tone will change. That's why he is where he is. Now, Provo reportedly began working for Donda Academy, the rapper's Christian school, in August of 2021. The suit filed in Los Angeles claims he suffered emotional distress as a result of Ye's actions, which include allegedly firing Provo for refusing to cut his hair. All right, y'all, it's time for you to shave your heads. I am not messing around, Ye allegedly told his staff. After he refused, in part due to his Muslim faith, Provo claims an associate to Ye told him, Kanye said, tell the one with the dreads to shave his head or he is fired. Kanye and members of his management team required Provo to choose between these critical aspects of his self-identity and financial stability. The Root also reports that Provo claims white staff members were paid $5 more per hour than black employees. Additionally, Kanye is alleged to have banned books about black history at Donda Academy, including books about icons like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., an allegation also made in an April 2023 lawsuit by former Donda Academy teacher Cecilia Halle. That case currently is set to go to court in April of 2025. Yeah, it do take a long time for a lot of these cases to, get up and running. So it says further, Kanye regularly expressed negative beliefs associated with prominent black leaders that advocated for or sought to advance the black community, the former security guard claims. Here's the thing. I just don't understand why people would be stupid enough to have their kids going to a damn school that, number one, is not accredited, and number two, is run by a damn rapper / producer. slash nutcase. Like, I don't understand how y'all just be like, are we at a point in our lives where we just don't care about, like, I just feel like America is so wrapped up in celebrity dumb and pop culture and just all of that celebrity bullshit and shenanigans that um y'all would just be willing to just y'all just put up with whatever. And then when y'all see the cray come out, then y'all want to file these lawsuits. Because I'd be damned. Like, first of all, I mean, if I don't know what the rules are in regards to, like, okay, if you were a security guard, you got your license, you probably belong, part of an agency or whatever. Couldn't you go and speak to your agency about, like, the discrimination that you were facing, all this other stuff? I mean, I guess, with him filing a lawsuit, that's evidence enough. And then on top of that, you're gonna need to have the evidence to be able to prove that the white teachers were paid the white staff was paid $5 more than the black staff. Y'all gonna have to prove that because we've all heard stories of how, well, in Hollywood, as an example, that black performers will sit and talk about how their white counterparts are paid significantly more, and there will be those white celebrities who will go to bat for their black celebrities. I believe Miss Melissa McCarthy did it for Octavia Spencer. And they openly talked about that she was like, well, if we're going to be in this movie together, we're going to get equal pay. So you're going to pay her just the same amount that you're going to pay me. And sometimes it takes the white allies to come and speak out. So if you have evidence to the contrary and you could bring one of those white teachers as a witness in this case, then you may have a case. But do I believe that Cunha is someone who is capable of doing something like this? I do, because this is the same person that at one point just said George Bush doesn't care about black people, to the buffoonery he's been putting out now. And a broken clock can be right twice a day. So I'm not surprised that this stuff is coming out about this clown. One minute he's, a man of the cloth and he's uber religious with a porn addiction. Now he want to make porn, which I wouldn't be surprised if he actually turns Donda Academy into his porn studio since it's in Los Angeles. I don't think he'll use the Wyoming house. But if he's out here, discriminating and creating hostile work environments and, violating labor codes and all this other stuff, then y'all need to clean his ass out. Take him to the cleaners financially. And, I'll keep you guys abreast of this story as it develops, because I'm sure it's not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, so I have a comment, and Robert says that people only realized Pet Shop Boys was expected to do the follow-up to Hard Candy, but Warner wanted an urban direction, not realizing a dance pop revival was going to come. Well, yeah, and child. So you think that the company, I mean, her label was trying to push her into a more urban direction? Because here's the thing, people want to call Pet Shop Boys one-hit wonders or whatever the case is because of what they said about Taylor Swift, but they did the remix to Madonna's Sorry song, when it made it more of like a synth pop track, and they just released a new album on Friday, which I listened to, and the album's good, but you know what? The Pet Shop Boys is at a place in their careers now that they don't have to prove anything to anybody. They continue to release music, but I don't think their music is ever going to be like. I don't think they'll ever be able to create another song as memorable as a West End Girls or whatever the case is. They do, continue to release their signature type of music, the synth pop type stuff, and yeah, it gets me going when I'm out. And if I'm working out the gym, their music is good to listen to. I like that they're experimenting still in the dance music space. But like I said, when you're an icon, you don't have to prove anything to anybody anymore. So I don't know. You already know how I feel about Hard Candy, where it's like I just don't feel like the urban stuff. But by the time she got around to working with Timbaland and Pharrell, I just felt like their sound was already on the verge of being outdated, and I really wasn't feeling a lot of what they were doing. So there's that. Okay, so now let's move on and talk about Kylie Jenner, who is out here denying that she is pregnant with Timothee Chalamet's baby. So Kylie Jenner and Timothee Chalamet are not about to welcome a baby together, multiple sources are reporting. Now, following days of both breakup and pregnancy rumors, the insiders shared the private couple's real status. Now, according to Radar Online, they're saying that, sorry, Kar Jenner fans, Kylie Jenner is not pregnant with Timothee Chalamet's baby, but don't give up hope because they're still dating despite breakup rumors. Now, after gossip began to swirl that Kylie could be expecting her third child when she arrived at her aunt's funeral in a concealing sweatsuit, the reality star, who's 26, put the speculation to bed. Kylie lifted a tight-fitting shirt, revealing her tight tummy to prove she's not hiding another pregnancy. On Thursday, she posted a series of shots on her Instagram stories, showcasing her abs, likely to dispel any speculation. As the outlet reported, fans lost their minds when Kylie wore a black hoodie and sweatpants to pay respect to her late aunt. The Jenner family united for Karen Horton's funeral. Karen was Kris Jenner's younger sister who died last month at the age of 65. Kylie looked out of place in her casual wardrobe choice alongside her sisters Kim, Courtney, Chloe, Kendall, and her grandmother Mary Jo, all dressed in funeral appropriate attire. The Kylie Cosmetics founder is notorious for hiding her previous pregnancies, making fans believe she could be expecting with her 28-year-old boyfriend Timothee's baby. But here's the thing. Do I believe that she is hiding the pregnancy? I do. I do believe that this is them trying to do damage control. Because remember, the last baby that she had with Travis Scott, people didn't know she was pregnant. There was speculation. She didn't mention it. She didn't make a big deal. I remember because we talked about that when we were talking about the Chloe Bailey situation. And I was like, the one thing I will give Kylie is that she was able to hide her pregnancy and stuff. And even on the Kardashian show, Kim was like, "Oh, you deserve an award." I'm embellishing, I'm paraphrasing. Um, she was like, "You would deserve an award for being able to not only keep that shit secret, but you was able to have your friends not spill the tea about your pregnancy." Now, my thing is this. Now, if you're supposed to be this fashion girl, and you're supposed to be Miss Mogul with the makeup and all this other stuff, and supposed to be like this big cosmetics queen or whatever the case is, and you know how these Kardashians make sure that every move that they make is calculated, why would you show up to a funeral in a sweatsuit or a baggy hoodie? So I think the picture, which I should probably show y'all, I think the picture's old because Kylie is notorious for doing that. She'll pick a picture and it'll be an old photo and then she'll upload it and be like, "See, I'm not pregnant, but no, I need to see you out in the street. I need y'all to," because any other time, like anybody else, y'all call TMZ for every damn thing else. Like Neo, when he wanted everybody to believe that he was hunching them two women that he was walking with. Um, y'all be calling TMZ everywhere else trying to act like, "Oh, y'all just happen to stumble upon them." But it's like, child, bye. We all know that TMZ gets tipped off to where the celebrities be at. So I do think that she is pregnant. She's hiding it, and then she likes to upload old photos to dispel the rumors. So I'm not buying what she's selling. Now, in regards, I'm gonna say stand 10 toes down what I said before. Now, if she is pregnant, child, first of all, I already know that babies be set for life and all this other stuff. But Timothy, why would you put yourself in this position of getting, being stuck in a situation with them damn Kardashians? Especially when I don't feel like Kylie's cachet in the world of moguling is what it once was. I feel like her status in that world is on the decline. And she needs to latch on to, like all them vampires do, them succubuses, what they all do, them black widows, them Armenian black widows. What y'all do is y'all sit up in here and y'all latch on to the very thing that is hot at the moment. Kim and all of them did that. And then I also heard that Courtney had a recent thing. I don't know if it was her birthday. She had a recent event or whatever, and Kylie wasn't there. All the other sisters were there, but she wasn't there. And I think the girls was all wearing bikinis, those other stuff, and hanging out on the beach or whatever. And it's like, okay, so everybody you show up for everything else, but you ain't show up for that because you would have to expose yourself. So I think she's lying, like they always do. This might be a oops baby. A lot of times people have them. Where they have a lot of oops babies and all this other stuff, and now you're in a conundrum, and I don't think Kylie's gonna have an abortion because she's looking at it like, you know what? Now I'll be forever attached to this man, whose career is on the rise. He's becoming like this big movie star after the success of Wonka and the success of Doom 2, which we are getting a third. Timothee Chalamet is becoming like that big breakout movie star in Hollywood, in young Hollywood. He's up there now with Tom Holland. and some of the other younger kids coming up. And I think Austin Butler is on his way too. So I guess I say all that to say I'm not buying this damn story at all with Kylie. So Radar Online and all y'all can say what y'all want, but I'm calling Cat. All right, so let's move on. And speaking of oops babies, let's talk about Doja Cat throwing shade at her fans' kids. She said, like Lil Nas X, she said, fuck your kids. Anyway, she is slapping a parental advisory sticker on her concerts. Now, according to Billboard, Doja Cat isn't here for to run a daycare center or host your family outings. The Scarlet rapper discussed the explicit nature of her music on X, or on Twitter, chat, on Friday, April 26th, and pointed out that the lyrics she writes aren't necessarily for children's ears. She said, IDK, what the F you think this is, but I don't make music for children, so leave your kids at home, mother, father, she wrote without indicating what led to her to share her thoughts on the matter. She probably having another manic episode. Because, Doja Cat like getting on social media and just be cussing out her damn fans or disrespecting her fans, then disappear for a couple of days and then come back like nothing happened. The 28-year-old, who is gearing up for the overseas leg of her Scarlet tour, then addressed some of the raunchy lyrics in her songs that don't make sense to have kids singing along to. I'm rapping about C. Why are you bringing your offspring to my show? Doja Cat continued. Rapping about eating D and pissing on this V cut. Leave your mistake at home. Ladies, you mistake at home. All right, Beyonce and Destiny Child. Can you imagine if they would have changed the lyrics to that? Doja Cat was one of the standout acts at Coachella 2024, rocking a scanty attire and lingerie throughout her set while performing her hedonistic anthems. She also recently launched a limited edition Funko Pop figurine modeled after her Coachella look. The Say So artist will headline a couple of radio concerts, including Hot 97 Summer Jam event, before heading to Europe for a handful of shows and festival sets in England, Amsterdam, Italy, and more. On Scarlett's F the Girls, FTG, Doja Cat addressed how she shouldn't be looked at as a role model for kids. Since when was y'all my bastard children? Go ahead and raise yourself. Come get your better kids. No need a mention. This is what she raps on the song. Scarlett debuted at number 4 on the Billboard 200 in October with 72,000 album units sold in the first week. And here's the thing. I actually like the Scarlett album. I enjoyed the album a whole lot. I like the fact that she kind of steps out of the box and she's doing all this weird shit and stuff. Everybody want to call it demon possession. Everything ain't about no damn demons. Y'all need to get off people's dicks with that bullshit. It's just the fact that I love when people go out here and they're exploring different, sides of themselves visually, orally, meaning musically. Orally, the ears, AURALLY. Sometimes you got to point that out. And I love the fact that she's off, doing her own thing or whatever. But now I did cackle what she did say, leave your mistakes at home. But it's like, yeah, to me, and look, there's been a lot of complaints from people who are getting irritated by parents bringing babies and little kids to events that they should not be brought to. I forget what it was, but there was something I heard about recently where it was a woman got berated by people and there was a woman that showed up to a comedy show with a baby and she was breastfeeding. And I'm sitting there like, sis, are you dumb? I almost said the other word. I said, bitch, are you dumb? First of all, people are not required to have to sit like me. If I'm at an adult event, I should not have to be laughing, and then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, a grown woman in there with a baby who, with all the laughing and all the noise and the profanity and everything that's going on in this event, the baby's going to start crying. Then she's spending most of the time trying to keep the baby quiet. Then she will pull her damn titty out and feed it. And then when you tell her about herself, she want to get a fucking attitude. No, everything ain't for y'all. It's like, I don't know why people think because y'all have children that everybody has to accommodate what you want, or we have to make you feel comfortable while we're uncomfortable. It's like, no, this space is when you go to a comedy show, and if I'm doing stand-up, I shouldn't have to be worrying about, oh, well, am I too loud for this baby who should have been in here in the first? And why, first of all, why the establishments be letting people with their infants into these places? Now I get it at the end of the day, like people want money and stuff. Like there's certain artists that they are meant for the kids. Taylor Swift is for the kids. Olivia Rodrigo is for the kids. You know, Conan Gray is for the kids. You know, they have JoJo Siwa is for the kids. Doja Cat is not for the children, especially all the stuff she be talking about. I don't even think Nicki Minaj is for the kids. Like she got her fan base, but when it comes to certain things, just because somebody's wearing cute costumes and it's a really cool stage, whatever the case is, like sometimes I feel like parents have forgotten to do their research before they take their kids into establishments. I always tell this story. I remember one time when I saw the Watchmen, Zack Snyder Watchmen movie in a theater. It's rated R, mind you. A man brought his son to see the film. And y'all know when y'all watch the movie, there's full frontal nudity up in there. The man gagging. I'm like, first of all, you and your son have a dick. So I don't know why you trying to shield him from that. We all got penises, those of us who are born male. So I don't know why you're trying to shield your kids from that, number one. But number two is like, do your research. But apparently, people don't read. People didn't read the graphic novel. I read the graphic novel multiple times before the movie came out. So I was aware of what was expected when they made the film. I was actually shocked that they put it in there because you know how Hollywood gets when it comes to sex or nudity or whatever the case is. They frown upon it. Nudity is becoming sex has become so boring in American films. But when you go over to Europe, they're more open-minded about it and they're more creative when it comes to sex scenes and nudity and stuff because it's not a big deal. But we love violence over here. We like blowing people's heads off. That's what gets our rocks off in this country. That's how ass backwards we are. But I say all this to say, yeah, um, parental discretion is advised, I guess, when it comes to parents. When I understand you want to go somewhere, you want to see a certain artist, spend money to get you a babysitter, whatever the case is, and leave your kids at home because it's like, yeah, I don't want to be performing on stage and I'm seeing a little kid in the audience. That same shit people were sitting there bitching about, well, why people, going in on Madonna because it was like, well, why y'all got y'all kids coming to say, first of all, I didn't see no little kids at that concert, at the Celebration tour. Everybody was of age. Last I checked. Or they got parents who are, cool enough and smart enough to raise their kids right, to understand artistry and that sort of thing. But look, if Doja said leave your kids at home, leave them home. Some people get mad about it, but oh well. Okay, so yeah, it said this isn't oops, maybe on his side, but he planned it and you know it. She would have done Travis, but given he's looking at jail time over the trial of Astro. Well, yeah, because I've been hearing a lot of stuff about Astro World and stuff, and I know he's still going in on that because a lot of people lost their lives at that concert with him. I guess people feeling like he incited riots during his show where he wants people to rage, those other stuff. But if you're going to do that, like you need to, like should have been something that's discussed with security and all these other people where it's like, okay, so if we're going to do a show, we have these moments in the show where I want the fans to jump up and down and rage and all this other stuff. There should have been a conversation that was had beforehand and you can't be in the moment. I understand like even the stuff that looks like it's in the moment is planned with a lot of artists. And if you're going to do those type of things, you can't just be sitting out here just coming off the cuff doing things, especially when it's an overpacked, concert festival and people can't move around and they suffocating or falling or whatever the case is. So I know he got a crazy case coming up against him, but this whole situation of like planning it and all this other stuff, yeah. Oh, there was something I forgot to mention. Hold on, because let me take this out. Okay, so there was something that I forgot to mention to everybody. So before we get to the K Michelle Tamar Braxton story, I have officially been approved to monetize the channel. Now, I'm not going to do that right now because I was batting my brain because it's like they want me to come up with like 3 different tiers for people to pay in order to participate in the show. And that is something that I'm going to be doing with the show eventually. So that's why I'm putting out there now. I'm not going to do it now. I'm still trying to build my audience, the fan base. And I have noticed that my numbers have been consistently going up. So I do appreciate a lot of you who have been supporting the show, who have been subscribing to the show, who have been giving me your feedback, who have been commenting and also good, bad, or indifferent. I appreciate a lot of you who have been coming and just being loyal with the show and discovering the show and showing me your appreciation, all that other stuff. So eventually, yes, I do want to monetize the show because this is something like I have to say, media. Being in the media space, everybody has their dreams, whatever. But yeah, me being a commentator, a podcaster, someone who talks about celebrity news and pop culture, this has been a dream of mine, an idea, something that I've always wanted to do my entire life. Like it always takes some people a long time to really come full circle what they want. And there have been many things I've dabbled into in the arts, acting, music, all these other things. But one of my main passions, and I probably will dabble into, music. Who knows? I may put out an album or something or another one day, or, write a book. But there's so many other aspects of the entertainment industry that I will jump into down the road. There have been people telling me I should write a memoir. I'm like, memoir? I am not old enough to want to do a memoir. Although Britney did put one out, and she's and she's what, like 41? I think she and I are the same age too. But yeah, so Britney, so some people have put out memoirs and stuff. I don't feel like I'm ready yet. I want to get a little mileage under these, under this body before I'm ready to start writing stuff, because I've been telling y'all my little adventures. But yeah, I do want to monetize. I'm probably gonna ask for I need some ideas in regards of like what tiers and stuff I can come up with to get people to do. But yeah, eventually I would like to. That's why I put my cash app at the bottom in case y'all want to send me a little coin tada. But eventually I want to be able to financially support myself through podcasting and entertainment stuff, and I won't have to work a regular 9 to 5 job. Although I do love the job that I do where I work in arenas and that sort of thing with in the entertainment space. So I do have like my toe in the entertainment world still, but I still want to be able to do this and then gradually go on and do other things. Like who knows, maybe and this is another dream too, like do a live podcast from a place where I have an actual audience. I have been given the opportunity to do that, but I feel like I may need a co-host, or I haven't really fully thought about it, because I have spoken to Daniel DCO, who runs Red Eye in New York, down in Midtown Manhattan, and he's wanted me to come and do a live version of Chris Avalon Unfiltered from his establishment, because a lot of people from New York do their podcasts and stuff there. And so I have been thinking about one of the guys who co-hosts Andy Cohen's show, radio show, on Radio Andy. I think they actually used to date. He does a co-hosting podcast. I forget what it's called though, but they interview porn stars like Bianca Del Rio. All of them's been on there, so they do a show from there sometimes that's live. Melissa Gorga was on the season finale, and her husband was there too, but he's always with her. So these are there's a lot of things that I'm trying to develop, and things are going to happen, I feel like, within the next couple of years. So that's what I want to say. I know I went on a long-winded rant about it, but I just want to say that this is what's going to be happening in the future, and I just want to always show my love and appreciation to those of you who support this show and believe in what I do. And actually, the times of when people be in the comments and, they chime along. So clearly I'm on the right path if I have like a loyal fan base that comes in and they comment and they support and they say all that stuff. So I just want to put that out there. So yeah, the show will be getting monetized some in the future. I will let y'all know when I will actually do it. Because a friend of mine who works at he said maybe you shouldn't do it right now. Like try to get sponsors and all the other stuff to come in. But I'm like, I need the numbers first before that. But if I could find a way to monetize the show beforehand, then why not? Especially with like stickers and super chats and that sort of thing. Okay, so censorship will be a must. So also be warned, you can't. Oh yeah, that's another. I think that's another thing that has also come into why I've been kind of hesitant on the monetization, because I'm gonna have to get to a point where I have to watch my mouth, and you know me, it's hard for me to not cuss. So I'm really gonna have to like really take my time and be careful with the words that I choose when I'm trying to monetize through YouTube. But I can do it. Shit. I mean, see, look. I was like, look, I can not curse. I mean, I can not curse. Like I can prevent myself from cussing. I guess is what I'm trying to say. I can work hard on it. I can work harder not using profanity. Although I hate when people say like, "Oh, people are not intelligent if they curse." First of all, there's been statistics that says that people who curse are highly intelligent. That's just me exercising a lot of stuff and just getting it out there. I just cuss because I cuss. And I like saying fuck, shit, piss, god damn it, cock, cunt. Like I like saying all those damn words. They're funny. But anyway, so let's move on. Speaking of the C word, child, let's talk about Tamar Braxton. Do I have that story? Or was that the plan that I wanted to do? Actually, well, look, the next story that I was gonna do was Britney. But since we on the whole K Michelle Tamar Braxton situation, I might as well just talk about it since we're here. We here. I said, let me just make some adjustments. Okay, so yesterday I was minding my business, and all of a sudden I'm seeing Tamar trending and K Michelle trending. I'm like, what the hell's going on? So, so Jay Martin posted and tagged me into something on Facebook, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? So it happened to be this whole Tamar K Michelle situation where she went on a podcast called the We Sound Crazy podcast, and it was their 100th episode. And they asked her what her thoughts was on Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album and Black artists within the country music space, which we all know there's not a lot of Black country artists who are working in the place. Like we know Shabuzi and a couple of others, and we're just now hearing from a lot of these artists because Beyonce's been working with them on her album. And then I've had a couple of friends of mine who listen to country who have been putting me on to Black country acts and letting me know about, those type of girls out there. And I've been listening to a couple of them, and I'm like, it's cute. Even though I will say this, country is not my foundation. It's not my judge in regards of like genres that I listen to. But I appreciate anybody who is willing to go into a space that has been colonized by the white folks. Because, people out here try to act like that white people created country when it wasn't. It came from Black people, blues and folk and so many other things that it evolved into country. And then it became more dominant with white people who started using it over the years. But there have been Black people who always played in that space. So Tamar went on this show, and I do have the clip. Hopefully it won't get flagged or whatever, because I was trying to look for a YouTube thing. But I was like, yeah, let's play it here, and then I'll give you my overall thoughts on what she had to say.
So Tamar, Cowboy Carter came out some weeks back, Beyonce's new album. What do you think about her moving the country?
I knew you guys were going to ask me about that.
Did you?
I did. I think that Black country is so necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy
I agree
that people with talent who can actually sing country music that are Black people are finally getting the recognition they deserve. That's what I think.
And she's a Texas girl. She's country.
Yeah. And, I don't know. I just really appreciate Beyonce for opening the door for all the other Black artists that has, rode that wave behind the floodgates.
Yeah.
I'm just really appreciative for her.
Agreed.
That's awesome.
These people can really sing. They're so talented. Yeah. What's that one Black guy who could sing? Like he sings so low.
Tony
Evans Jr.
He's on the show.
Yeah.
Man, I really appreciate his artistry, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd be good. He'd be happy to hear that.
It's true. Yeah. I started following him because just to hear him sing, that thing is sing.
Yeah.
It's also another Black. It's like two Black girls I like. One little brown skinned little girl.
That's Tanner, right?
That's her real name, Tanner.
I think so. But keep going.
And then there's another girl who kind of looked like the Beyonce campaign.
I know
you know what I'm talking about?
I can't remember her name, but yeah.
She's talented too.
We'll figure it out.
But I appreciate it. I like it. Because it was a couple of people who should not have been singing country Black music that was awful. And it was concerning for me.
Care to mention a few?
No, but you know what I mean. I'm not trying to be funny. Yeah. I'm not trying to be funny. It just didn't sound good. Yeah. And you got to make sure if you're going to step into a new genre of music and represent us, that you gotta represent.
Be right.
Yeah, got to be right.
Yeah.
Can't be all auto-tuned down and flirt.
Oh, yeah. If you
That's not it.
If you were going to step into another genre outside of R&B, which one would it be?
Well, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I don't care what other genre that you want to step into, because people ain't even listening to the genre she currently in, which is R&B. So now what happened with that was immediately people went over to the neighborhood talk to start their shit. And people was up in there trying to say that she was throwing subs at K. Michelle. Now, later I will, post what, or we'll talk about what Tamar had to say, because she tried to say that she wasn't talking about her. She tried to say, oh, I wasn't referencing you. I wasn't talking about you and all this other stuff. But sis, you were. Like, I'm not buying what you were selling. You was literally out here throwing shade at her and trying to act like you wasn't. So, of course, K. Michelle had to get on the line and call her Janice from the Muppets, which I've been saying for years. And then, that's back from that old read when she used to get that on The Real. So, yeah, she came out here and, K. Michelle went in on her social media and was like, how many times are you going to keep calling for something you can't handle upon its arrival? Huh, Janice? But she said a whole bunch of things. So, the neighborhood talk did post a carousel of shade and reads that K. Michelle posted, and she said, I spy with my I spy with my little eye a leprechaun in my DM side. Imagine you keep playing with someone who's minding a business, then boom, they sick of you. One tweet and screenshot, and it's over for you. I don't pull stunts, Raggedy Ann. I pull cards. So it was like multiple ones, and then called her with the Janice photo, as y'all can see here, loud cackling hyena. But that is kind of funny. And it said, now I'm going back into my place of slumber, peace, and positivity. I have some goals to accomplish, and I'm grateful for every blessing I'm receiving. I could go there, but I'm going back to minding my business and singing these songs. And she also said, now, someone by the name of The Influencer, since anybody could be one, that's kind of funny, said, now when at K. Michelle responds, I don't want to see this be crying. And then another person posted what? That's his handle, said at Tamar, Braxton, hers, not talking about K. Michelle. We've been down this road before, and I'm sure neither wants to revisit that. Well, and then she said, and then Tamar Esteem said, I absolutely was not. I said a few artists. I paid homage to Beyonce for bringing positive attention to country music. There are people who I don't address and I don't mention / shade to keep mess away. Where was all this chatter when my song went #1? I mind my business. Well, child, because you keep releasing like so many you other black performers, mediocre ass mid-tempo R&B tracks. And it's no shade, it's just what it is. Y'all get caught up in that whole space of what the industry wants y'all to be releasing, and then y'all release basic ass R&B music and wonder why nobody, is checking for it. Them same regular people that just like whatever, okay, so what, she black, she just gonna release this, they just gonna promote it and support it. I don't care. If what I always want is a black artist to step outside the box. That's why I love what Beyonce's doing, whether you agree with the whole country direction or not. She's taking chances and risks and doing things that is not necessarily in the wheelhouse of what would be expected of a black artist to do. So when she went, but then when she also went and said that that a lot of people are jumping into this. I said, wait a minute. First of all, there's been black artists who have been making, been doing country for a while. Because Beyonce is a mainstream artist, she is shining a light on a genre and bringing those people in. Many mainstream artists have done that. Madonna has been doing that throughout her career, where it's like, you may have not been paying attention to this specific genre, but she'll work with people within that genre. And then once you hear the album, then you're curious, who was the producers? Who did she work with on this record? And then you shine light on those people. And then you start paying attention to what those people are doing. So then you get into that. Beyonce is doing the same thing. This is why I say out of all the artists that's out here, the mainstream artists, Beyonce is the closest to like on that same level of a Michael Jackson, a Prince, and a Madonna. The triple trifecta of icons. I don't know. This up-and-coming generation, y'all don't have that. I can't see none of these new kids that's coming up that's on that level, and we'll probably never see that again. I guess the closest of the last is gonna be Taylor Swift with all these sales and stuff that she's doing. And kudos to her. But look, Tamar is notorious for gaslighting and throwing shade and, throwing a rock and hiding her hand. And yeah, she may have said that that's not what she was talking about, but we know for the most part, how many black artists do y'all know that have played in the country music space? Not that many. The only one that I know before Beyonce was even gonna come out and do a country record, before we even knew she was gonna do a country record, K Michelle has always mentioned that country music has always been a space that she's always wanted to occupy, that she's always wanted to come out with a country record. She's always wanted to work and do country music. She's been saying this since Love and Hip Hop. So who else could she have possibly been talking about? You said some. Yeah, and then the guy, the producer, before I forget that part, no, not producer, one of the guys who actually worked on the episode, the podcast, because I should bring that up. I think it's Billionaire 1911. He tried to say that, she wasn't talking about her because she would have said her name, which is that shit that a lot of y'all like to do. Oh, she didn't say her name. She would have said her name, then she would have been talking about, first of all, like Judge Judy always says, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Like, don't sit up in here and try to play me like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like, we as people of color have been conditioned to know a gaslight when it's happening. We've been conditioned to learn it when it comes from white people. Whenever they saying everything but that N-word, when they be trying to do the microaggressions and all that other stuff. But why, when it comes to our own people, all of a sudden we get fucking dementia and amnesia? We get selective amnesia when it comes to our own doing it to us. But you're always on alert when white people do it to us. That don't make no damn sense. So if we the king and queens of gaslighting and knowing a sign of a gaslight when it comes across our situation, why do y'all always want to diminish someone's feelings, especially when at the end of the day, K. Michelle and Tamar Braxton know each other and know more than what we know when it comes to behind the scenes and all that other stuff. So y'all going by what you see on social media and stuff, but I pay attention to all of this. So he went and said, for the record, Tamar did mention K. Michelle's name in the interview or off camera. The media and the fans got to stop putting words in people's mouth. There are a number of black artists trying to cross into country. I can name a few that should go in a different direction. Much love to Tamar Braxton and K. Michelle. Both ladies are extremely talented, and we got love for them at We Sound Crazy. And you know what? Two things can be true at the same time. It's like, yeah, she could not have to mention her name, but it could be like, in her mind, she was thinking it. So people think like, oh, I have to literally say your name in order for it to be fact. She's done this before when she did it with Candy. She threw subs at Candy. And then when she got called out, then she got in the car and mentioned Candy's name. So we're not going to sit up here and act like this is our first time at the rodeo that Tamar will be pulling these damn stunts and shows. So let's not just get selective memory when it comes, like, keep that same energy when it comes to a lot of people. Just like we can sit up in here and call Nicki Minaj when she throw out her subs, we gonna keep that same energy when it comes to Tamar. So I'm not buying any of this that they trying to sell. I know y'all over here, look, it's bringing a lot of attention to your podcast. So that's a good thing with, your 100th episode. But yeah, I'm not buying what they're selling in regards to, all of this that's going on. So, ladies, Tamar, you stay over there and do what you gotta do, mind your business. I know you got the new season of the Braxtons coming out. I guess, it's a reboot of the Braxton Family Values. Yeah, they're all back doing a reality show. So I don't know when that's coming out and doing what's need to be done in regards to that. That's what you should be worrying about and focusing on your son and that man you about to get married to. And K. Michelle, you keep doing what you gotta do. I don't know if she's still working on release of country music or she got a country album or whatever coming out. But you know what? Do what you need to do, sis, and just don't pay attention to the noise. But I do agree. Sometimes I feel like the fandom can be a blessing and a curse. It's like, yeah, she may not have mentioned the name, but you know what? Some people, they do pay attention. And y'all tagging people in the situations and celebrities taking the bait, that is just grist for our mill. Yeah, we can sit and salivate in the mouth and we enjoy it because it helps us go viral and it helps us with our numbers and all sorts of stuff. But celebrities, y'all need to stop getting caught up in this mess. But then again, if you don't, then what would I have to talk about? So let me know what you guys think about this whole tea in the comments down below. Do y'all think that Tamar was throwing subs at K. Michelle? Do you think K. Michelle is overreacting? I definitely want to hear your thoughts. So let me know down below. Okay, so I have a comment. It said, is Janice in the building? Lonnie has some questions. Oh yeah, didn't Lonnie Love call her that? But anyway, so yeah, there's so much going on with her. But anyway, let's move on. And what are we getting into? Let's talk about Britney. So I was trying to figure out how I was going to come with this story because there was so much tea coming out about Britney over the weekend, especially in regards to, this recent case surrounding her conservatorship. She took a hit. Then she was spotted slapped down in the back of a car with her ex, who was a convicted felon. TMZ loved pointing that out. He was in the driver's seat. She was in the passenger seat. Her feet on the window looked like the glass was cracked. And she was trying to hide her face, and him too. I said, Jeff, you're behind the wheel driving. You should not be hiding your face. Because what if you hit somebody? But anyway, so there's a lot going on with Britney, and the word on the curve is she might be depleting her own coins. This ain't got no the Wendy Williams thing where you got people stealing her money. She's overspending her money. So apparently Britney has yet again deleted her Instagram page as insiders claim she is completely dysfunctional and is in danger of going broke after being released from her conservatorship. Now, TMZ is reporting that the toxic hitmaker is struggling both mentally and financially, with sources claiming to the U.S. publication that she is completely dysfunctional. Britney is reportedly suffering from shocking mood swings and is under no supervision since her conservatorship ended. One insider told the publication she has lots of freedom in the conservatorship and the restrictions were there to protect her. She's not protected anymore. It's further been claimed that Britney is spending a fortune with nights at extravagant hotel The Brando in French Polynesia. TMZ reports she spends close to $1 million on each trip between private jets, hotel, and staff, and goes every month or two. Sworn we talked about this not too long ago, a couple of months ago, early in the year, I believe they were talking about how she was going to the French, the Brando at the French Polynesia. She's been hanging out a lot at hotels, or it might have been another hotel that she was hanging out with. And I think it was in LA, and how she was spending an extravagant amount of money hanging out at hotels. And then there was a story about, I guess, that she was running around topless or whatever, and people were getting on her about that. I don't know if any of that is true. That was just what was going on out there, what people were saying. So this is not the first time I've heard stories about her spending a lot of money hanging out at extravagant hotels. It says Britney allegedly travels to Hawaii nearly every month solo and staying at the Four Seasons presidential suite each time. That's what it was. It was the Four Seasons. At a reported cost of about $350,000 per trip. A source claims she cannot afford this. She had $60 million when the conservatorship ended, and she's now where the conservatorship started, in danger of going broke. Britney currently boasts an estimated net worth of $60 million. She received a whopping $12.5 million up front for the sale of her recent memoir, The Woman in Me, along with ranking in the cash from book sales. According to Celebrity Net Worth and Forbes, around $56 million of her assets are thought to be in investments and real estate, with around $3 million in cash. It also claims that, she claims, as in Britney, claimed that the conservatorship under her father, Jamie Spears, forced her to get an IUD fitted to prevent her from getting pregnant. She claimed, I want to take the IUD out so I can start trying to have another baby, but this so-called team won't let me go to the doctor to take it out because they don't want me to have any more children. Well, they probably were looking at it because, Britney doesn't have the best relationship with her own children, Jaden and Sean, or Preston, as she likes to call him. So, Britney's been, we've been seeing her twirling around in that foyer with them horrible looking brown shoes that she always seems to be wearing and them little boy panties. And, same old, same old. And then also, she's been going through it in regards to like what's been going on with her father and that sort of thing. They show that, she said, what was it? That she also pointed, what was it? In the Sunday Morning Post, I should point out, she made a pointed statement about posting the cover of Jeanette McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. Because y'all know the story about Jeanette McCurdy, that she not only talked about like her tumultuous relationship with her mother, but she also talked about the tumultuous, times that she spent working at Nickelodeon and all the stuff that was going on there. So she also talked about, she showed her half-naked backside, and this was her response to the legal ruling, which I'll get into in a minute, where she said, I was actually right about nerve damage in my back. I have to get acupuncture every day of my life. Words and thinking too hard make it worse. If people only knew that I've had to crawl to my own door one time. So I wonder what happened to her back, but I guess She's gone through some traumatic situations or whatever that maybe from them, I don't know if it has to do with years of dancing, or it could be like, whenever she told the stories about her having to be restrained or whatever the case is, there could be a lot of nerve damage from that. She says, so basically the conservatorship is doing me more harm than good. I deserve to have a life. I worked my whole life. And yes, we do agree with that. And you know what? At this point, this is what's been happening. It's like, you know what? The people, the free Britney people, y'all want her to be free. Be careful what you wish for. She now has it. And now she's out here, people will sit and they talk about her where it's like she's unhinged. According to the report, they're saying all of this about her, that she's dysfunctional. She's spending up all her money, which was the complaints that they had prior to, why she was in the conservatorship, because she was overspending her money. But then again, I'm going to say this. If the girl worked hard for her money, if she's been a child performer and she makes millions of dollars and all this other stuff, then who any of us to tell us how she spends her money? If she wants to sit and spend up all her money and go broke, let her do it. She's grown. And also, so what was it? Oh, so here was the thing, in case people didn't hear. So all of this is stemming from because they ruled in court last week that Britney has to pay her father's $2 million legal bill in addition to the $4 million she reportedly spent on her own lawyer. So that's $6 million. And they said that with nothing awarded to the Baby One More Time artist, Britney is said to be in a bigger financial hole than before the trial. So here's the thing. Like I said, be careful what you wish for. Y'all want her to be out here being free and all this other stuff, then let her be free. Because anytime anybody say anything remotely critical about Britney, and yeah, there are some signs that look like sis is off her meds. But if this is what y'all want, and y'all want to have her out here just acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs or whatever the case is, then you know what? We're just going to leave her alone. We're just going to let her do what she do. She'll keep deactivating her damn Instagram only for it to be popping back up a couple of days from now. And she's going to be doing the same thing. It feels cyclical. So where are the people who are her so-called friends are supposed to be in her life? When I was reading this article, these insiders are saying that she had lots of freedom in the conservatorship, and that, all the things that she's doing and how she's spending her money. Where are these friends, these so-called friends in her life that should be helping her out and steering her in the right direction? Those who truly love her for her. And you know what? It's sad that, maybe the conservatorship was a good thing, but the way it was handled is the problem. Meaning her father, who probably didn't, based off of what she wrote in the book, clearly didn't give a damn about her. She was nothing more than a cash cow. And he didn't know how to show love to his children based off of Britney talking about the way they were raised. So what do you do at this point? It's sort of like, you know what? At the end of the day, just pay those bills that you got to pay him, that the court said you got to pay, the $6 million. Go about your life. Just don't associate yourself. Like, okay, so I paid off the stuff, I moved on, then, it's because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. Like, sometimes you got to protect your inner peace, to protect your mental health. You got to cut ties with the family and all that other stuff. So that's what she needs to do. Pay the bills that you got to pay based on what the court said. Go about your business. If you want to go and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars in Hawaii or whatever, being on the beach in a bikini by herself, to let her do that. Unfortunately, she don't know anybody who she could, she doesn't have anybody in her life that she could trust, because so many people have just broken her trust, and it's just hard for her to be, to trust people because of the way she's been treated by so many others. So many people out here, y'all don't be having people's best interests at heart. You're all a bunch of damn vultures. So, and Britney seems like she doesn't have a good judgment of character when it comes to the people that she invites in her inner circle. So I feel for her, but at the same time, you know what? She a grown woman. She over the age of 40. This is what she wants to do in her life. What can we do? She's no longer part of the conservatorship. And I don't know if they'll be willing to put her back in one, because you're going to have the free Britney people coming out saying that she shouldn't be in it. So let's leave her be, because that's what everybody wants, to just not say nothing, to ignore it, and then it'll all go away, right? But then we see her all over Instagram acting a damn fool and doing questionable things. And then people speak up. And then they're looking at it like, okay, sis, what the hell's going on with you? So I'll keep you guys abreast of the stories of because I'm sure Britney and her cuckoo for Cocoa Puff stuff is not going anywhere anytime soon. And excuse me, if it comes down to where she broke, Because they're saying that she makes her money from real estate or whatever, investments. Maybe she'll have to just bite the bullet and get back to work and do a residency or whatever case is. Look, when it comes down to Britney being broke, like broke, she'll do what she got to do to make her a coin. So, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm officially retired. I'm not gonna come out and make music." She'll come out with a perfume. She'll come out with something, and you know, you'll have the hardcore Britney fans that'll pay for it and support it. But if it comes down to it's like, you know what? Yeah, let's get some music. Let's make some music. Let's do a residency, and she'll make a couple $1 million, and then she'll go about her business and stuff. But yeah, if it really gets down to a point where she has no money in the bank, trust and believe Britney gonna come out and do what she got to do to make a coin. Or her team, whoever she got in her corner, tell her she better get her ass down and get to work. As Robert said, I think Britney should sell her publishing for music and other stuff. Does she own the publishing? That was another thing too, because I meant to bring that. I'm like, does she even own the publishing to her music? Like, first of all, a lot of the songs that were her biggest hits, she didn't write. And I'm sure she was in a shitty record deal, like most people. So does Britney actually own the rights to Baby One More Time, Oops, I Did It Again, Lucky, you know, Slave for You, so many of those hit songs? And yeah, if it comes down to it, that she will, you know, have to pull a Justin Bieber or so many others and sell the publishing rights to the music for $200 or $300 or $500 million, whatever. Because you know they'll pay out the ass for that. They just paid Michael Jackson's family, you know, estate a whole lot of money for access to his catalog. So I'm sure if it boils down to it, she will sell the publishing. He said, because we know she's not making music. So I think her and Sony Music should do a best of box set and vault material remix. Yeah, I don't understand why they haven't dug into the archives and really put some of Britney's music out there. I don't know why they haven't done that. Because it doesn't make any sense as to why they really haven't been out here pushing her stuff. Because they push so many other people's music, and to me, it's like Britney is a moment in time where people actually love her music and what she's contributed to the industry. And so for the industry to just be sleeping on her and not really, you know, striking and putting stuff out there, it just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, let's move on and let's talk about Diddy, who apparently is talking about he's going to seek revenge on those who basically turn their back on him as his legal troubles continue to pile up. So Diddy is facing allegations of physical violence, sexual abuse, and sex trafficking. The music mogul is reportedly out for revenge. I don't know. I was trying to think of like how to do it like with RuPaul from RuPaul's Drag Race when he was talking about this time you're going to get your revenge. Remember during All Stars? But anyway, let's get serious because this is a serious topic. So a bombshell report claims that Bad Boy Records founder has been secretly getting ready to come for the A-listers who have deserted him. This is according to Radar Online. He's nursing a grudge against collaborators who've gone silent amid his legal battles, a source squealed to the National Enquirer. Not squealed, yeah. Questions linger over the whereabouts of stars he helped elevate, like Jennifer Lopez, Usher, and Justin Bieber, who have distanced themselves from him. In the aftermath, well, should we address this right now? Number one, Jennifer Lopez has her own issues that she has to deal with. Social media, including, well, particularly Twitter, well, not Twitter, TikTok, has been going in and letting him on Jennifer Lopez and how unreal she really is. Because she was about how real she is and all this other stuff, and she's not. And I think it's been proven over the, like, I think because of this whole docuseries, the documentary and stuff that came out, the This Is Me Now era and all this other stuff, people have got caught on to Jennifer Lopez as being the fraud that she is. You know, she's dealing with all of that, like the whole imposter syndrome situation of being like that girl who, you know, because she got to play Selena. And I do feel like in my heart of hearts, if Selena was alive today, there would be no Jennifer Lopez. She would not be, her career wouldn't be where it was. We'd be talking about Salma Hayek and so many other girls. We would not be talking about Jennifer Lopez. But because Selena passed away, well, she was unalived by that crazy ass Yolanda Saldivar, and they needed someone to play her in the biopic, and Jennifer Lopez happened to be someone who is a dancer, performer, that sort of thing. I feel like because she came in and played this person, she said that she always wanted to be a singer. I call bullshit on that. I don't think she ever wanted to. I feel like she was smelling herself after playing Selena. She really thought she was the pop star that she thought she was in her head. And, the labels, those other stuff, let's capitalize on that. She's not the greatest singer in the world, but she's a good dancer and performer. We could mold her into something. And plus, if you're going to be in the hip hop space, it's not a requirement to be the world's greatest singer. Let's be clear about that. So she could do a little yang here and there, and then we could finesse it with other people's vocals, and we could mold her into something like this big pop act. And going into that urban space definitely works because it's not a requirement to be like this big powerhouse singer. So she latched onto that, and then I feel like over the years, because she's been so nasty with people, she's been, it's that whole imposter syndrome. Now, as far as like Justin Bieber's out here being, he's sick. He's going through his ailments. He ain't got time to be worrying about Diddy. Quiet as it's kept. Some people think that Diddy probably did some things to Justin Bieber. Like, do I think Justin Bieber was passed around like a football? I wouldn't be surprised. Because Justin do look like, in my opinion, allegedly, I feel like something happened to that boy. And Usher is another one. I think some stuff happened to him too. Like, especially when you got grown ass Diddy horsing around with a teenage boy like Usher. And we know Diddy is a little weird, especially when it comes to like using his power or whatever. It seemed like for sexual kicks, which kind of reminded me of the episode of Reindeer Boy or whatever that's on Netflix. We're gonna get into that because that alludes into the Cardi B story that I'm gonna be bringing up in regards to the homosexuality situation. So I'm gonna save that more for that story. But to me, Jennifer Lopez got her own stuff going on. Usher and Justin Bieber also have things to be worried about. Usher, he just came under fire for hanging out with Russell Simmons. So you really think on top of that he's going to be wanting to hang out with the likes of Diddy or coming in his corner? Quiet as it's kept. Here's the thing. If it was me and I had a friend who was accused of sexual assault or any kind of abuse of someone, I'm distancing myself from you too. I'm not going to be latched on. Like, I'm not worried about being canceled or whatever. I say a whole lot of shit that should get me canceled anyway. But first of all, you can't cancel me. Not for having an opinion. And especially if I'm having an opinion, it's not in a way to diminish other people's feelings or to really be nasty or disgusting when it comes to certain things, like if it's rooted in bigotry or hatred or discrimination. That's not where I come from in regards to the things I say. So, but if it came down to it and I was associated with someone who was accused of SA or any kind of abuse, yes, I'm distancing myself from you. I'm not associating myself with someone who's allegedly done harm to other people, especially when it's your own community. And I'm sick of Black folks continuously talking about, y'all trying to take down Black men. But I'm like, at what point does that Black man take responsibility for doing harm to people in his own community? When do we become a species or a person or a thing of going against or making excuses for powerful people abusing people within our own community? And this is why a lot of times abusers and stuff don't come forward, especially that shit that went down with Harvey Weinstein. Why, so I'm going to come forward and relive these traumas in court against this man who did all kinds of crazy stuff to me, only for a case to be overturned down the road. Y'all did that with Bill Cosby. Now you did it with Harvey Weinstein. But that's only in New York. LA, his ass still in jail. And I don't think he's getting out from there. Now, we already know about the whole Homeland Security situation that happened of his mansions in LA and Miami and the Cassie situation and all this other stuff. But they're also saying that he's got a list of high profile names that he will be settling scores with after his legal battles are, put to bed. But here's the thing, because they said that Shine is going to be thrown up in there. And then, Little Rod Jones, the producer, who's the one that really has been spilling all this tea, outside of Cassie, has been telling us all the stuff that's going on. And then Shine came out and said, he was the fall guy in that whole shooting that happened at the nightclub. So he said that once he's vindicated, he's going to be selling scores. Well, Diddy, we already know that, from all the tea that a lot of us have heard over the years, you ain't getting out of this. his career, he is done in this industry. So for this story to come out and say, like, you know, people gonna be effing with Diddy or whatever the case is. Y'all seen the video online where Diddy was at an event and Flavor Flav just acting like his ass wasn't there? That shit was a cackle. But for the most part, I just feel like I just don't see that, you know, they're sitting up here and say, oh, he's going to seek revenge. He's going to, like, in what way? Like, you plan on trying to take people's lives? Because that's another moment that was going around that Diddy was out here acting like he was Don Corleone and taking people's lives. And, you know, people, all of a sudden, they spoke out against him, including Kim Porter, allegedly, and some of the others. You know, they ended up 6 feet under. So a lot of y'all who out here who allegedly been out here spilling all this tea about Diddy, because you know ever since this situation came out, there's been everybody named Mother. If y'all been noticing on social media, especially when, you know, the Neighborhood Talking, the Shade Room, and some of the other black blogs that love, you know, spewing BS to go viral, you know, whenever they talk about this stuff, everybody named Mother been doing podcasts allegedly saying they seen Diddy do something, including hunching Carl Winslow from Family Matters. Or, you know, and a bunch of other things that they was talking about that they allegedly saw Diddy doing. So I guess, you know, at the end of the day, maybe that list is going to be long because Diddy feels like he's in a position where a lot of you that's coming out and speaking out, you know, a lot of people feel that over the years, he was in a place where he was so powerful that they were scared to come out and say things. But now with you know, Cassie and everything that she said and that snowball effect that's happened afterwards, a lot of people feel, you know what? I ain't scared of this happening no more. He going down. So now everybody's speaking out. Now I guess it's up to us to sift through all the noise and figure out what is believable and what is, you know, made up. So I guess we'll never know. But some of the stuff, you know, especially what I heard from Miss Cassie and then the producer who was talking about Lil Rod, I believe a lot of the stuff that was coming from that. But yeah, Usher busy worrying about his own career and taking care of his kids and stuff. He ain't got time to be running around with Diddy. Maybe you need to be focusing on your kids being the ones that's loyal to you, not your celebrity friends. And Justin Bieber worrying about, you know, his health and his wife and all this other stuff he got going on in his life and getting his booty rubbed on by Jaden Smith. I'm joking about the last part, but because, you know, Coachella. But for the most part, you know, all these other celebrities, they got their own lives and stuff to worry about. They ain't out here worrying about your ass. You need to be focusing on trying to get yourself vindicated, which I don't think will happen. But you need to be worrying about this case and getting things dropped, like what he's trying to do with this recent case, because he said that one of the cases he wants dropped because I think one of the girls, he said, well, when a lot of these charges were brought up, this stuff didn't exist in the 90s. So I'm like, but you ain't said nothing about the possibility that you ain't do none of this. You worrying about the date of which these things happened and saying like these charges didn't even exist in those days. So how you going charge me on something that didn't happen tonight? Well, you wasn't charged in the 90s either. But, you know, the laws have progressed slowly, but they have progressed throughout the decades and throughout the years. So I don't think he's going to be able to get away with that one. I just think them charges going to stick. I will definitely keep you abreast of the story as it develops, because I'm sure when this goes to trial, Diddy may have been able to get away with that stuff back in the day with the whole Shine situation, so many other accusations he had came out. And then also, Aubrey O'Day was speaking out because TMZ did a documentary. I think it's called The Downfall of Diddy. It's on Tubi. That came out last night. I have not seen it because I was busy doing other stuff. But yeah, so they dropped that last night, and she went and said what she said in regards of like talking about the whole thing about the NDA for the you know, the payments from the, you know, her getting the rights to the Danity Kane music and how much that was going to cost. She talked about that, and she also was, and this is what I like about Aubrey, even though now Aubrey doing baddies on the Zeus network and fighting Natalie Nunn. That's what she doing now, and that long ass chin she got. That's what she over there doing now. But she was on TMZ and she was talking about how she went and got on Harvey, was talking about, you know, some of the stuff that had came out and how I guess she didn't like how they were covering certain stories in regards of Diddy and that whole, you know, the residual payments and all the stuff, which I was kind of thumbing my nose up at the beginning. I have friends of mine who are, you know, music people and stuff. They was like, oh yeah, this is a good thing that he's doing. I said, child, this is all performative. Like, I'm not buying none of this. I stood 10 toes down in that, and I'm glad my instincts proved me right. Because I'm like, oh, after 3 decades, then all of a sudden you want to act like, oh yeah, I'm doing a wonderful thing. I'm giving people their publishing and all this other stuff. It's like, child, if you don't get off my line with this foolishness, this performative, this performative mess. But yeah, like I said before, I just want to put that out there because I forgot to bring that up about there's a Tubi documentary thing on Diddy, the downfall of Diddy, that Tubi just uploaded yesterday. And Aubrey is speaking, and I guess about, I don't know. All I saw was the Aubrey clips. I don't know who else is speaking out, but like it was stated before, we talked about a couple of weeks ago, there are going to be a lot of surviving Diddy documentaries and stuff coming out. And just TMZ wanted to be quick to jump on it because they love talking about whenever Black people commit crimes and do all other stuff. That's why I'm particularly like about TMZ, the way they handle Black stories versus white stories. I don't care how many goddamn Black folks you got working up in there. The way they handle Black coverage, I don't like it. But anyway, let's move on and let me read some of these comments. It says she has a strong fan base in the industry, erasing her in front. Yeah, she does have a strong Britney fan base because we know a couple of Britney hardcore fans on social media, and I don't like the whole idea of them. It's like, okay, so she's not performing anymore, but her music is not really. Y'all not really purposing her music and putting it out there. Like Madonna's always reissuing her music and releasing anniversary editions of her music. Why aren't we doing that with Britney? Because she's going to be one of those girls that's sort of forgotten about. So Janet announced her first ever European tour since 2011's Number One's tour. Oh yeah, we're going to get into talking about Janet in the next segment, but that's about something else. Because I did see that she went online and she was outside and they had the little microphone. I said, first of all, y'all need to put 4 or 5 microphones on her. Because, child. So my friend said, I don't know if you're still on air, but this dumb N-word is still standing on stupid. Oh, they talking about Flame Monroe. Child, you want to know something? Let's add this to the show. Because we're going to talk about this. I guess I'm going to say the Janet for a second. Because, yeah, Flame Monroe went on the Breakfast Club. Hold on, let me pull up Gay Magazine because they was the source, but I'm not gonna play it on there. Yeah, let me pull that up because I did see that earlier and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna bring this up, but yeah, since they talking about it, I might as well. But yeah, one of my friends, DJ Baker, who used to actually produce my old show. Hold on, because I was like, let me just take it off the thing, and I'm gonna play it in a second. But give me a second. So I found it. But yeah, let me finish this Janet Jackson thing. So it said, oh yeah, they said, now add Agent Australia. Yeah, I did see it. I saw the video, the finish of the Janet Jackson thing. I saw the video earlier. In regards to like her announcing the European dates and all this other stuff and all the stuff she's gonna be doing. It's about this is her most successful tour. And kudos to her. I live for Janet. I did watch the clip of her on the Drew Barrymore show. They finally uploaded that, and I did watch the clip. And I got some tea that I did not know about in regards of Drew Barrymore and the Scream franchise when I talk about the Janet story. So we're gonna get to that. But first, oh yeah, and then Rose says I can't with that heifer either. So let's go back to oh, you know what? I'm gonna leave that up there because that'll be like the headline. I can't with Flame. So yeah, let's pull up Gay Magazine, chair, because I saw this foolishness earlier and I was like, you know what? I'm not paying this bitch no mind. But I did see Hope Giselle jumped in the comments. And I said something too. I don't remember. Oh yeah, she said Marcus is not a trans woman. His words, not mine. Who the fuck is Marcus? That's like, who the fuck is Heather? Who is Marcus? But anyway, so hold on a second. Let me pull this.
What it is I've been meeting a lot more women in Hollywood, and they'll all come to me and say, I love your stance and how you feel. Thank you for defending us. But publicly, they can't say it because of the cancel culture and the fallback. And the cancel culture is real. You think it's still real? Oh, my God. From November 22 to August of 23, I lost every book I had. Wow. Because of LGBT. They weren't all LGBT books, but if it's one gay person on the board, oh, she's transphobic because she's not for the movement, and they cancel off. But you are LGBTQ, and so how do they cancel you?
Here we go.
Part of it because I'm not saying what they want me to say. I'm grown, and I'm. It's not my truth. It's the truth. See, a lot of people come. I'm just living my truth. Your truth is some fictitious shit like these things. Your truth ain't the truth. I tell the truth. So they was angry, especially with this sports and and trans and sports shit. That shit is bonkers right now. And then you know what, Envy, what it is I've been meeting a lot more women in Hollywood, and they'll all come to me and say, I love your stance and how you feel. Thank you for defending us. But talk to me. Same stance I had when I came here in 2019 is the same stance I have now. Create a lane for trans athletes, because let me give you the breakdown of this. You can never be the best male athlete because you've already proven that you weren't the best male. We see that in the swimming, right? That or whatever sport you're in. So you feel like I want to be a trans woman or gay, and you identify as a trans woman, not gay, you're a trans. So you go to the females division. You can't be the best female simply because you are not a female. So create a lane for trans athletes where you can be the best. I think it does a great disservice to the good trans athletes that we have, because you don't have an arena to say that you are the best. They want it to happen overnight, but Eunice Shriver created the special needs in 1968 in her fucking backyard with 6 special needs kids. Now it's worldwide. What we want is the microwave. We want it to happen overnight. It's not going to happen overnight. What do you say to people that say that talk to me? Same. Trans athletes take these pills that suppress their hormones, so it makes them the same as women when they run. So they don't have the same strength, they don't have the same thing, and it suppresses a lot of their muscle ability. What do you say to those people? Did my face tell you? My face ain't saying it. Yeah, you got sunglasses. Open your fan. Yeah, open your fan. Open the fan. Which one is that? And I've taken hormones for years. I'm still physically stronger than a woman, and biologically, I am still male. It is not even saying that I'm not looking for my girls and my guys, my trans people to compete. Do it. But create a lane so it'll be fair, it'll be safe, it'll be welcoming, because you don't want to be a place that you don't want to feel welcome. We all have children here. So if my daughter was a swimmer or a runner and a trained, we paid money to do this and woo, and she became the best, number one. And then Lil Jon decided to become a trans girl the next day and said it was just ice skating. And he came and he just dominated everything. My daughter feels defeated because this guy who was an inadequate boy athlete decided to come and be with my girl. And y'all get mad about my words, and I say what I say. He was an inadequate goddamn male athlete, just like that swim. He was 500 for the boys, but then became number 201. Yeah, I'll knock it out. They have his dick out.
Okay, so I'm pretty much done with what this heifer gotta say. But here's the thing. In regards to the stuff she said prior, I guess first things first, what we should address is the fact that, yeah, there have been things that Flame has said in the past regarding the LGBTQ community that has been problematic. She's saying that bookings have been canceled because of those situations. When you say things that are harmful against the community, and to me, I've always looked at Flame as the Candace Owens of the trans community. I've said this many a times. Her and Caitlyn Jenner, who I just saw, came across these protesters, the pro-Palestine protesters. I saw that on TikTok, and I think I posted it on my social media. She came across the pro-Palestine TikTokers or pro-Palestine protesters. Say that 10 times fast. And they were standing outside the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I don't even know how the hell her ass got invited there. She ain't even a Democrat. She don't like the damn Democrats. She's a Trump supporter, but I guess she wanted to be up in there like the Marjorie Taylor Greens and heckle them during his Correspondents' Dinner, which I guess everybody gets to go to that. Anybody who's in politics or whatever. Although Caitlyn's not in politics, but she has tried to run for public office. I don't know why her ass went, but child, they was calling her a murderer and all that other stuff. So I was cackling over that because I was like, yeah, read that bitch down to the floor. Get her, Jade, in the words of Coco Montrese. But anyway, so when she's saying all of this on the show, to me, it's just like, okay, I know what narrative that the Breakfast Club is trying to push. Y'all pushing it says like, oh yeah, we're trying to, they thank me for coming to the defense of cis women. We have heard this conversation time and time again of how trans women just want to be like anybody in our community. We just want to be left the F alone. We're not out here trying to infiltrate nobody's space. Trans women are not trying to they're not trying to be women. They're not trying to take over, take y'all men away from y'all. But some of y'all need to check y'all men because y'all men like a little women with a little something extra. Got the, the titty, in the words of that song, titties at the top and dick at the bottom. And some men like that. And, you know, we have a lot of time where cis women don't want to allow men to be men and figure out their sexuality and their sexual attractions. And just because a man hooks up with a trans woman does not make him gay. That doesn't make him any of these things. It's just he like what he like. And we need to stop making sexuality and stuff black and white and allow men to explore what it is that they want. This is why we have a lot of these things with that shame and that ridicule and why a lot of trans women get murdered. Because of the overall ignorance and bigotry that comes from that. And Flame Monroe is on a platform where she could really advocate and speak out on these things, but she doesn't want to do that because, yeah, you can be your own woman, but you got to realize when you out here saying certain things, you are associating yourself with the LGBTQ community and stuff, there's consequences to the stuff that you say. And you got to fall in it. If you're going to lose bookings because a lot of the stuff that you're saying is problematic and transphobic, then yeah, you should be read down to the floor on it. And you should lose those opportunities. Because we know where they stand on that. A lot of times, the Breakfast Club, particularly that deep voice bitch over there, what's her name? Jess Hilarious. Her unfunny ass. I don't know why y'all call her comedian. That bitch don't be out there actually doing stand up at the Laugh Factory. She don't. She just funny off of some social media type stuff. She ain't no real comic. And that don't make you a comic. Comic is a real comedian actually goes out and pounds the pavement and pays their dues in front of an audience. Like an Ellen DeGeneres, which she been back doing after she got canceled from Hollywood. But I don't understand this. So now, if they really want to talk about stuff with athletes and stuff, and this is the part where I'm going to say I actually agree with Flame Monroe. I do feel like, you know what? So that way we can grow our own. What is wrong with us having something separate from what the heterosexuals and stuff do? Why can't we have our own situation? Why can't we have, it's like I do feel like our community at times, we get so wrapped up in wanting to be included and accepted from them people over there that it's like, fuck them. If we want to have our stuff, we should be able to just create. If they're not going to give us the opportunities, we create the opportunities and we make sure like this thing is what's going to be. And I hated having to use this as an example because I was going to use that example because that was the first time I heard that clip. But I was going to say it's like the Special Olympics. The Special Olympics, the special needs kids, people looked at them as they were like not equal. They can't be on the same level as, someone who would be considered normal. I'm not doing this politically correct shit. We're just going to call it what it is because I ain't got time to be sitting here trying to find the words. So people who are considered normal in the eyes of society, they don't want to put people that would be considered special needs up against them because they feel the fear of them being hurt and all that other stuff. So someone went and created a space for them to do athletic stuff. And it's become this worldwide thing. Why can't we do that with the trans community? Oh, because now you want everybody to catch up with where y'all are at. And it's like, yeah, let's have our own thing. We don't need to worry about them people over there. We can create our own situation. We have our own judges. We have our own thing. And then we grow it into something bigger down the road. Because I don't think there's many trans athletes out here. Because some people will look at it as that's not fair. That someone who just transitioned about 5 minutes ago is running against these girls and then he wins. Or, this trans woman wins against these cis biological women. So I do think that is an unfair advantage, especially when you're taking this. Why can't we have this conversation without people being considered transphobic or whatever the case is? We should have these logical conversations. So that I agree with her on. But to me, Flame is not a representation of our community. She is a whole goddamn clown. She says a lot of controversial shit because that gets her attention on a lot of those spaces, like a Breakfast Club, like a Neighborhood Talk, which is run by a homosexual. I don't understand how that person be posting shit on there, but they post all kinds of biases and bigotry. Then don't even get me started with the Shade Room. But I'm like, if you want to combat and have differences of opinion, stop inviting just Flame Monroe because she fits your narrative. Why haven't you invited T.S. Madison back? But I understand they're not going to invite her back because she got smoked with Jess Hilarious. So I'm guarantee you, with this clip coming out, mark my words, T.S. Madison going to be on Fag Talk with Craig, and they're going to be talking about this. And I'll be definitely looking forward with my popcorn, hearing what with my sis, T.S. Madison got to say on this matter. So you haven't, how many times, here's the thing, what I love about Gay Magazine, they pointed out of all the people who's been on the show, out of all the trans people, the person who's been on there the most is Flame Monroe. She's been invited back to the Breakfast Club 5 times. Now, the other trans women that have been on the show, Carmen Carrera's only been on there once. Janet Mock's only been on there once. Laverne Cox has been on there once, and T.S. Madison has been on there once. So the real women, the real trans women out here who are really being an advocate and speaking out on what's going on in our community, they only get one time at this. But Flame, because she's so controversial and she fits your narrative, and she goes viral, and she's gonna say things that's gonna get people riled up, she gets to come on and spew her bullshit a multitude of times. So, I'm sick of this hoe. And, I said, we know the game those dunces at the Breakfast Club is playing. Flame gender flip-flopping ass is the coolest Owens of the trans community. And, at the end of the day, I feel like Jess Hilarious, she about to go in early labor, loving as much as, with all the stuff they said on there. She is loving every moment of this because it fits that narrative of her and her bigotry. So that's all I got to say on that. Let me see if I could. Yeah, so that's all I got to say. But let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Oh yeah, I said, hold on, because I'm gonna let him know. I just added it to the show. Thank you. I know I be trying to not be unprofessional with all of this stuff, but I'm glad. I was like, why I got so many messages? But look, I'm glad I saw it, and I'm glad I brought it up. So yeah, I said we're gonna be talking about this stuff on the show because one of the things is like we're going to talk about bigotry and ignorance, especially whoever it comes from. And I will go hard for anybody who is marginalized in the community, the trans community, anybody in the community. Like I'm not one of those gays like a lot of people before me and now who sit and thumb their nose at trans people or non-binary people, whatever. I've had to block a lot of bitches on my social media who spewed a lot of hatred. And I'm like, first of all, you a whole faggot. How you running out here being discriminative towards the trans community? Like, I don't understand it. Showing your dick and your fat rolls all over Twitter, but go out here and read a trans person. He said, what in the Candace Owens or Caitlyn Jenner hell? Child, don't even get me started about Casper Smart, because remember that tea that came out about, oh yeah, you was my trans attractor, because yeah, that was a story that once upon a time, allegedly, that there was a story that came out about Casper Smart that J-Lo had caught. I guess he was texting or sexting 2 trans models. I'm like, yeah, he probably got tired of her vagina. That shit worn out by now. All them men that J-Lo done ran through her. So he needed a little something spicier. So he went after the T-girls. The girl a little something extra. But anyway, so I was like, I added 2 topics to the show. I did Madonna. And then I added what else? Oh yeah, we talked Miss Flame. That flip-flopping asshole. Okay, so now let's talk about Janet Jackson, who revealed that she almost played Halle Berry in X-Men. So Janet Jackson almost took Hollywood by storm. Now, on Friday, April 26th, the Grammy-winning singer stopped by the Drew Barrymore show where she revealed she was this close to being the weather goddess herself, Storm, in Marvel's X-Men movies. Inquiring about a late 90s photo of Janet clad in all-black attire, including a leather trench coat, host Drew Barrymore, and I think that was during the Matrix era, which she did debunk, and she said that she was not up for the role. But back in the late 90s, everybody was out here wearing them long trench coats and, doing the whole Matrix look. So they said Drew Barrymore and Ross Matthews after she was nearly cast in the cult classic, The Matrix. In response, the 57-year-old stated, I can't remember the film, but Halle Berry played Storm. To which Barrymore exclaimed, X-Men? She said, I couldn't accept the part because I was just embarking on the Janet tour, but I think that's what you're confusing the photo with. When asked whether she'd be open to reprising her acting career, Janet swiftly replied yes, stating that she would like to do an action film. As a matter of fact, my father wanted me to, so I promised him I would at one point, she continued. While Jackson hasn't secured her dream role yet, she has been praised for memorable performances in films such as Poetic Justice, For Color Girls, and the big screen adaptation of Tyler Perry's stage play Why Did I Get Married, and its sequel, Why Did I Get Married Too? And more recently, she starred in a 2019 film called Jack Boys alongside Eve and Cat Williams. So that had been one of them straight-to-video type flicks, because I never heard of that. But I would actually love to see Jenna in an action film. We've seen her in so many other things, but I would definitely love to see her. Like, she is someone who's a dancer, so I could definitely see her in a physical role, playing like maybe a female buddy cop film or something or another, or like a just straightforward act. Like, since Jennifer Lopez ain't doing nothing serious, I would like to see her do something in that vein of like a revenge film, like one of those, like a Proud Mary. Remember that movie with Taraji P. Henson? Like, I would love to see Janet in something like that. Now, in regards of the time stamp on this, I don't know if I think she's getting her toys and stuff confused. Because I mean, look, on one hand, I did remember hearing Janet was up for the role of Aurora in X-Men, but I also heard her name floating around playing Trinity, but she debunked it. So she said that that's not what she was up for, then we're going to go along with it. But I know the closest she came to a Trinity type character was in that song, What's It Gonna Be, with Busta Rhymes, where she had that, full on dominatrix regalia on. Like, she was giving us very much that in the video, which I love. And I love Busta Rhymes and his music. But just like she couldn't remember the name of the movie, I think she's confusing her tours. Now, the Janet tour kicked off in November 24th, 1993, and concluded in April 22nd, 1995. So she was on tour for almost 2 years with that tour. And X-Men came out in July 14th of 2000. But then again, I should say this, the Velvet Rope tour came out in April 16, 1998, and concluded in January 30th of 1999. And the All For You tour came out in 2001. So in between there, I don't necessarily know, like, I'm confused with just like which one was it, but then it could have been between 1999 and 2001, but especially, the All For You and the Velvet Rope, like she was doing that. She was releasing a lot of music at that time, and, I feel like a lot of obligations that she had to touring and stuff probably tied into that. So I do feel like, yeah, she turned it down because she was focusing a lot on her music career, and I feel like her music would have definitely taken a hit should she had signed on for a multi-year contract to play Storm. And in a way, this might be a blessing in disguise, because we all know Bryan Singer's an asshole. All the stuff that he was doing on set, with a lot of the stuff we've heard about him, and how he was, doing his drug binges and being problematic behind the scenes, and how Halle Berry at one point had to cuss his ass out and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like, she tells the story, and the stories have been out there and stuff. So yeah, she dodged the bullet by not being in the X-Men. I'm glad she turned it down, but I would have loved, in watching the clip, if she regretted not doing it, because we were going to hear about it, but then Drew interrupted her. So the clip that I saw online, we never found out. But I will say this, sidebar, just to add to this, the one thing I did not know about, Drew Barrymore did have a conversation. She had, oh my God, the actress that played Marsha Brady in the Brady Bunch movies, Ben Stiller's wife. It was her and another guy. I don't remember the guy's name, but they were up there. They were having a conversation with her, and she was talking about, creating flower films, and how she was playing like these femme fatale roles, and a B-movie actress, and how she created flower films at 19, and how she came up with, she was producing and stuff. And Scary Movie, which was the original name of Scream, had been floating around Hollywood, and she was looking for that role that she wanted to play in regards of that, and that whole situation of like, what was she going to do? Initially, she said she was supposed to play Sydney. She had signed on to play Sydney Prescott in the Scream movies. But she said one of the things that made her change her mind and want to play Casey Becker was the fact that she had loved films like When a Stranger Calls and Psycho. Because we all know the iconic scene with Janet Leigh in Psycho, how she was killed halfway through the movie. And then, of course, there's Where a Stranger Calls, where there's that scene with first of all, the first 10 minutes of When a Stranger Calls is like iconic. After that scene, the rest of the movie kind of was like, it kind of falls apart for me. But I love When a Stranger Calls. I always watch that opening sequence, and then I'm done with the film. I don't care about the rest. But Psycho is like one of my all-time favorite black and white. Like, I still watch Psycho to this day. I actually like Psycho 2 as well, with Jennifer Tilly's sister, where they were trying to make Norman Bates go crazy after he got released from the insane asylum. But anyway, so she said that she was initially supposed to play Sydney, but she went and told them, so, I want to play this part. And then they had said to her, well, that's not what you're on the call sheet for. Like, that's not what you assigned to do. And she was like, yeah, that's what I want to do or whatever. And then she played, whatever happened, happened. You know, the Casey Becker sequence in the film is the most iconic scene of all time in, you know, that type of film, and how her career progressed over the years when she did Never Been Kids, playing Josie Grossi, and how she came up with this whole plan of securing the rights to Charlie's Angels. So she talked about all of that. So I just want to point that out about that I had no idea that she was initially up to playing the role of Sydney. She also mentioned that she was the one that brought on Wes Craven to direct the film, because she had said at the time, like, one of the biggest horror directors that she had always looked up to was John Carpenter, which is one of my all-time favorite movie directors, and Wes Craven. And she brought in Wes Craven to direct the Scream film. And we saw what happened when he's directed every one since then, except, you know, 4 was the last one, then he died, and then we got 5 and 6, and now we got 7 coming in. I've been hearing all the rumors and stories and stuff every other day. Critical Overlord got something to say about Scream, and it's like, child, I'm just gonna wait until things is confirmed, because every other day y'all got a 5-minute video talking about something y'all heard from this person that's coming up with the Scream movies, and this is like, at this point, y'all ruining my excitement and anticipation for this movie. So I just want to put that out there, and shout out to you, Janet. Okay, he said Velvet Road Tour, not all for you era, because Janet did do the Clumps the same year X-Men came out in 2000. Doesn't really matter. So that could have been it too. Is like she turned the movie down. She wound up doing. She wanted to be in. Well, first of all, X-Men was not a pre-existing IP. It was something that was relatively a new thing, and she probably didn't know what to expect. And first of all, there's probably a lot. Like, you got to do the screen test, you got to do the wire work and stuff, which is what Halle Berry was subjected to. Costume fittings, all the other stuff with that. With the Clumps, with the sequel to, you know, the Nutty Professor, the previous Nutty Professor movie had already come out. It was a huge hit. It was funny. You know, I remember going to the movies and seeing that, and it was a good film. Dave Chappelle was in that, by the way. But you know, that was a good one. And then Jada Pinkett and all this stuff. And then when the sequel came out, I was like, well, Janet already knew what to kind of, okay, now I can go in and do the sequel, because the original film was already out and it was a huge hit. So now I could jump on that because I'm aware. Whereas X-Men was this new IP, and she probably would have had to commit to years of being a part of that franchise. And I don't think she had the wherewithal to want to commit all of her, you know, many years to that. So I definitely get where she's coming from with that. All right, so we got 3 more topics and we are out of here. So with today's show. So let's talk about Chelsea Handler and these rumors that's coming out that she's joining the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So it seems like every other week there's a new rumor about some high-profile celebrity joining the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. A few weeks ago, it was reported that Bette Midler was interested in joining the Beverly Hills edition. This week, it's Chelsea Handler, whose name has been floating around for season 14. Thankfully, Chelsea wasted no time shutting down those claims. Now, the comedian shared a screenshot of a blog post that claimed she had inked a deal to become a part of the highly popular reality TV series, saying in her Instagram story on Sunday that this story is not at all true. Now, here's the thing. I did not believe this story when I first heard it. I don't know when people were sitting up here talking about this, because here's the thing. Now, for someone, it's funny enough, I'm sitting here talking about T.S. Madison. She about to talk about that. Miss Mamas is online right now doing her show, but you know what? I'm going to jump off the line after this show, and I'm definitely going to be watching Fact. Shout out to my sister T.S. Madison, because I know she's gonna be talking about this whole situation with oh my God, with Miss Flame and that foolishness. I can't wait to hear that, because you know I love me some T.S. Madison. But anyway, you know, I gotta shout out my siblings in this podcasting LGBT LMNOP space. But anyway, back to this whole Chelsea Handler situation. So Handler actually, look, here's the thing. What I've known over the years, as someone who has watched Chelsea lately, I knew this was a lie, because many a times, one of the things that Chelsea has always poked fun at is reality stars. She's poked fun at the Real Housewives franchise. She's poked fun at the Kardashians. And so we know, like, she would never jump into the reality TV space. Chelsea would never stoop to that level of needing fame and attention that much, because that's basically all you're asking for when you go on these type of shows. So one time she even appeared on Watch What Happens Live about 11 years ago and said the following. She said, I think it's sick. I mean, I think the franchise is kind of a terrible thing that women shouldn't be making money off the fact that they have fake boobs, fake vagina, and a fake whatever. So I actually don't support that. Now, they also said that the former Chelsea Lately host notably follows Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star Garcelle Bouvet on Instagram, but they've worked together. The cast of season 14 of the popular Bravo show has not yet been released, but Crystal Kung-Minkoff and Anne-Marie Wiley both have announced their departures. And then I was hearing rumors that Dorit might be going too, but I actually hope that, you know what, I feel like, you know, even though we've been talking about Dorit and what she even contributed nothing to this franchise, I do want her to stick around. I like Dorit. She, and the whole situation with her and Kyle needs to be resolved. And like I said, if Kyle's not going to be able to bring it this season and open up about her relationship with Morgan Wade and is she and Mauricio finally going to get the divorce, then I don't want her being a part of it. Like, you're not just going to keep coasting for a check, which is what was happening with Candy. But then again, she was smarter to be like, you know what, I'm ready to go. Like, there's nothing I'm not really giving anything to the show. So it was smart enough for her to finally wake up. So I say, let's say, I never believed this story from the beginning, but I was like, I just had to put it out there because I know a lot of people was talking about it and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, she's not joining Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I just feel like they don't need no big name celebrities on there. Just focus on the core girls that you have and have other cast members that we've already seen on the show, like Denise and so many others just floating in and out of the episodes. Whenever y'all have the infamous dinners that they always have, just have, Faye and Denise and, Crystal and some of the other girls and, pop up at the table and they have their little moments and they go about their merry way. I kind of like when the Beverly Hills Housewives does that. Or they need to find other women they can interact with the show that are just like, really cool that they can have conversations with that want to be on camera, that are being themselves and not being phony, because we could smell it a mile away. And that's why a lot of y'all don't get another season. So, it also says, what was it? Oh, well, I don't care about what the rest of this topic. Let's move on. And let's talk about Cardi B, who believes that SA can cause homosexuality. I think we have that. I think I have that clip. Hold on. Let me pull that up in a second. But anyway, let me set up the story. So Cardi B recently did she made a claim that SA between people of the same gender can turn people gay. After apparently so how this all came about is that she was watching the new Netflix series Baby Reindeer, and she decided to share her thoughts on homosexuality. Now, the show, which is biographical, is based on creator and star Richard Gadd, who details his experience of being stalked. Which, child, I heard the tea about that. The woman who is claiming that is surrounding the whole stalkation situation, that she's looking to file a lawsuit. Because yeah, that show was crazy. I watched last night. I binged 4 of the 7 episodes. So after the infamous episode of the SA, I was like, I gotta stop. I had to put on something light. So I put on Drag Race All Stars 3, the roast of Lady Bunny. Shout out to my girl Lady Bunny. I am friends with Lady Bunny. So I had to watch that. I watched that episode last night, where none of the girls went home, but they brought back a lot of the eliminated queens. And so the next episode is Gia and all of them being messy. So I gotta watch, even though I've seen them episodes a million times, I always tell people, like, whenever I'm feeling a little dark or whatever the case is, or I'm watching something heavy, I need some drag queens to uplift my spirit. So I did. So yeah, like I said, I watched 4 to 7 episodes, and it was interesting. It was heavy. It was, and basically it was this guy, but basically the guy who the story is about, there's a sequence where it's like he's trying to become the stand-up comedian and becoming famous. So he starts performing at this pub, and all of his whole act was just a hot ass mess. Like, he can't seem to catch a break. But then he comes across this guy. He goes to an event because a guy leaves a card at the pub. So the girl that's working behind the counter gives him a card. He winds up going to this place. He comes across this guy who's a writer on one of these popular shows. The guy takes him under his wing, but comes to find out what's happening is that he's being groomed by this older guy. So he's giving him all these drugs, like he's doing crack, he's doing meth, he's doing, he's drinking GHB, he's doing all this crazy shit. And when he passes out, he's being assaulted sexually. So, and I'm sure this is some shit that does go down in the industry. So Cardi B decided to weigh in, and here's what she had to say.
Like, I feel like I have a cousin that I just knew since he was like 2 years old. Like, yo, he's gay. I watched the show, the baby reindeer. It's on Netflix, and like the fourth, I haven't been able to finish watching it because I think around the fourth and fifth episode, it kind of like traumatized me a little bit. Like it freaked me out because sometimes in life when you don't have nothing and like when you're like trying to figure out your path or your dreams and stuff like that, like you get into really bad situations. And then like on the show, like in this episode that I saw, and I was like, I can't even watch anymore. Like the guy, he wants to be a comedian, so he met this guy that, of course, that is like, he told him that like he was gonna put him on, and the guy introduced him to drugs. And while he was drugged up, the guy was raping him. Like he was like finger popping his ass. They
Not
started
finger
sucking
popping.
him. They started sucking his dick and all this weird. And then because of that, like the guy just started going through a very hard time to his life because he just felt so violated, and he never went to the police because he felt so ashamed. And then he like, because of that, he started finding out that that he was like kind of getting into that, and he was such ashamed of the new feelings that he was experiencing. And it's so crazy because like it's so important for us to like know certain male perspective about these type of things, because women go through a lot of sexual assault, but we don't really get to hear or see what other men go through when they experience sexual assault. And it just like it shocked me. And then it's crazy because like I believe that there's some men that are born gay. Like I feel like I have a cousin that I just knew since he was like 2 years old. Like, yo, he's gay. Like he's gonna be gay, and he is gay, and I love him. And there's some people that there's people that are born gay, and then there's men that get sexually assaulted, and then they find out that they are gay. And like some people, people are always gonna be judgmental. People are always gonna like not accept them and stuff like that. But it's like people sometimes don't even know their story or how they got there. And it's like that's why sometimes you gotta be like more open about certain things, because it's like you just don't know people's story and why they like and their preference and how did they even got there. You know what I'm saying? Like not everybody, as you can see, like not everybody is born gay. Like as you see, if you see that episode, you see like the guy, he was straight and he got raped, and then he just started going through all these emotions of identity of what he likes. Like it's like he started having crazy sex with women. He started having crazy sex with men because he just wanted to identify of what he likes, or because he got sexually assaulted. Like I feel like
Okay, so I feel like we got the gist. But here's the thing. I feel like, first of all, she didn't say anything bad. So I'm not going to be quick to go in on her like some people did in the comments. But some said, y'all only know about God when it comes to gays. Y'all sin 24/7, but got everything to say about somebody's sexuality. Another person said she believes in everything except colorism. Interesting. Child, look. And then people was making fun of the way she talks and all this other stuff. But look, first of all, Cardi's from the hood, so she can't help that she sounds like a stereotypical Spanish chick from the Bronx. That just is what it is. But we've known, but a lot of times when you really listen to Cardi and you get past that part, there is some intellect behind a lot of what she says. So it's like, get past the accent and really just listen to what she's saying. So I do agree in a lot of things. I think there's levels when it comes to sexuality and, that sort of thing. What happened to the guy was that, yes, he was sexually abused, and it made him question. He was like, well, did this guy see something in me that I didn't see in myself? Because a lot of times, depending on your upbringing or whatever the case is, a lot of people do suppress their sexuality and end up coming out later in life. So that could have been a situation, or this guy was just a damn predator and saw an opportunity to take advantage of this naive guy and he used his power and his influence in the industry to take advantage of a guy that he was never going to put on in the first place. He just wanted to, he gets his kicks off of drugging and taking advantage of people. Kind of like the Ed Buck situation. Remember Ed Buck was going around doing that to black men, that he was going around finding these hustlers and stuff off the street and was using, drugs to take them to the highest plane. And then while that was happening, he was sitting there assaulting them and all this other stuff until a couple of them OD'd. And You know, he had that covered up because he was endorsing the Clintons and all these other people. So it could have been something like that. So do I think people are born gay? Yes. Because first of all, I will say this. I have never been sexually assaulted. I have never been molested. I've never had anything happen to me in a way where somebody has taken advantage of me as a kid or whatever the case was. And I always like peen and poon. So, I'm an exception in a lot of. I don't think I'm an exception. I think there's a lot of people out here who have not been abused that were born gay. I just feel like a lot of our stories aren't told because it's much more entertaining and salacious to bring up a kid who was a product of sexual abuse who goes around and does it to other people. That could be because they have been conditioned to be ashamed of their sexuality and or things happening to because boys. Oh no, boys don't get assaulted. Boys don't get molested. Those things don't happen. I think those happen to girls. Or if you would complain about that, you're a punk, you're a sissy, you're all these things. So when we put so much emphasis on boys being looked at as that of assault or whatever the case is being a sign of weakness, when it's not something that is even their fault. It is the person, the predator, preying on these kids or on this man or whatever the case is, and they don't have the balls or the wherewithal to speak out because of toxic masculinity and the way society puts things out there. This is what is to be expected. So I totally get that as well. And that's what I got from when I was watching. The reason why he was going into these places and being violent and letting men just ram their penis in him. And, you know, when he would go to these sex parties, whatever the case was, or he would be having sex with guys and girls in the stalls, is because, you know, when you go through a traumatic experience, that was him exercising those demons and working that thing out in his own way when he should have been seeking a therapist or trying to get help or whatever the case was. But also, you have to also think about insurance ain't cheap. So when people don't have the wherewithal and the money to work out these things with insurance because everything is so damn expensive, people work out their traumas in their own ways. So I don't necessarily mean that. I don't think that people could be turned gay because then that fits that narrative that straight people like to walk around with. That yeah, we out here trying to convert people kids and all that other stuff. I think you either are or you aren't. But maybe there are some things about him that maybe he is pansexual. Maybe you know, he did that. Him being abused unlocked something in him that he had suppressed. So there could be a whole lot of factors that go into that. And I feel like, you know what, one of the things I will say about Cardi, and I love the fact that she does, like, yeah, we hear so much about women being abused. We hear so much about women being assaulted. We don't hear enough stories about men and the things that they go through in regards of abuse. And men should be allowed to speak out on their experiences, their traumatic experiences, their experiences of being assaulted by someone in a position who is far more powerful than them. It doesn't matter the age. It is their position of power. It's like you knew that this guy was looking up to as a mentor. Like you shaped him and helped him out with his comedy and his making his stand-ups shows better. And then you take him under your wing as like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help you like write a couple of things, whatever the case was. So you take him under his wing, believing that this is his shot. And then he gets into the room, and then here you go, and there you go, and you pounce. You do all this other stuff. So I agree with her on that. It's just like when she talked about she got to episode 4 and 5, I was like, yeah, it's 7 episodes, but just getting to that part, it was so traumatizing. I don't even know if I'm gonna go back to finishing Baby Reindeer because that's a lot. Like when you hearing stories about abuse or seeing that type of trauma and those trigger warnings and stuff that it does give you, it's like you're kind of scared to kind of go there and want to get caught up in that. So like I said, I don't take fault in what Cardi said. She was just putting it out there, and you know, people are always going to come in and have their ignorant things to say, and you know, to make themselves feel better. But I'm glad that she brought this up, and this is a conversation that I feel like we should continue to have more of on my show. And if other people want to have it on their show, they should as well, because I feel like we need to debunk this stigma. But in the meantime, let me know what you guys think of this story down below. Did y'all see Baby Reindeer? Do y'all agree with what Cardi got to say? Do you think people could be born, you know, are people born this way, or are they converted? Or can they be converted? I don't think you can be converted, but let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Okay, so Robert says, I remember she poked fun at Jersey Shore and went out of a hot tub pregnant fake at the 2010 VMAs. The only time she hosted because celebs complained that she was mean. Just like, oh please. First of all, I love when Chelsea Handler. I always love when Chelsea Handler hosted it because she was not, she poked fun of the celebrities and stuff. And then also whenever Ricky Gervais did the Golden Globes, I love when he did that as well. But everybody want their ass kissed because everybody out here being real sensitive. So you can't really say nothing negative about people now. And it said, and Joe McHale fired from E because they got tired of being chill. Oh yeah, because the Pimp Mama Chris and the Jenners, they pretty much ran E, which is why nobody watches that channel now, and nobody's keeping up with the broads either. All right, so now I think we are at our final topic because and let's talk about Miss Ellen, who is back to doing stand-up. We had mentioned this. I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago because some people was like, well, Ellen disappeared or whatever. I said, no, she out here doing stand-up. Y'all don't hear about it because they have your phones confiscated whenever you go to her special, like when she's doing her comedy shows. Which I think is pretty smart. I kind of wish they would do that at the concerts. But I realize at the concerts, everybody wants to document their experience of actually being there, to showing like they were there, and they want to do their little photo shoots before the concert starts. So we all know that's not going to happen. But yeah, when it comes to comedy, I really feel like comedy shows, they should start confiscating phones. I really do. I really think they should start confiscating it because people be saying stuff, things get taken out of context, and then all of a sudden y'all want to run up out here and start canceling people when comedians should be able to just say the things, if it's cleverly done, that everybody else is not allowed to say. So Rolling Stone actually did a whole expose because they went to her show at the Coronet Theater in the heart of West Hollywood. And this was on a Wednesday night. So I don't know what Wednesday night they did it, but apparently when they did the article, it was a Wednesday night. So they said Ellen DeGeneres was a woman in command. A sold-out crowd of about 200 fans burst into roaring applause, eager to see the comedian turned talk show host return to her comedy roots in the first night of her Ellen's Last Stand Up tour. And she didn't disappoint. Dressed in a simple black long-sleeve shirt, white pants, and sneakers, DeGeneres addressed the elephant in the room with her first words. Saying, I used to say that I didn't care what other people thought of me, and I realized I said that at the height of my popularity, DeGeneres said, prompting the audience to erupt in laughter. It is such a waste of time to worry about what other people think. Right now, right now I'm hoping you're thinking, this is marvelous. I'm so happy to be here. But you could be thinking, let's see how this goes. The last few years have been rough for DeGeneres. Her public image took a hit in 2020 following a series of reports by BuzzFeed News. I heard that BuzzFeed fold? I think they're not around anymore. In which employees at her long-running Ellen DeGeneres show alleged racism, sexual misconduct, and intimidation at the hands of executive producers. 3 top producers were fired in the fallout, and DeGeneres issued an on-air apology. While she stated that she had been unaware of the toxic work culture, she acknowledged that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show. Still, the show and her popularity seem not to recover. After 19 seasons, the Ellen DeGeneres show came to an end in May 2022. Now, since then, she has mostly laid low, save for a 2023 Discovery Channel documentary, Saving the Gorillas, Ellen's Next Adventure, and some routine social media activity. Ellen's Last Stand Up tour, which so far will include more shows at the Largo through June before she heads to San Diego, then Washington State, then Oregon, and the Bay Area, represents her first meaningful return to public life since the controversy. It will culminate, why am I having a hard time saying her damn name? But anyway, told the crowd on Wednesday with a new Netflix special. Oh, I didn't know she was getting a Netflix special. She didn't comment on the news though, but they're definitely talking about they're going to take the special. And when that happens, I'll definitely check that out because you know what? Say what you want about Ellen. I actually like her. And I don't know, maybe she was mean. But one of my friends did point out something, and I'm going to allude to it after I'm done with the article, that they were talking about because they were a hardcore Ellen fan and watched the show. They said when they were a kid growing up and this whole thing. But, they said that they're not speaking about the whole Netflix special that's going to be taping later on this fall. So now her Wednesday night set called for material DeGeneres had been working on for about 6 months, including a handful of performances, kicked off with a recap of what she's been up to since her talk show ended. Gardening, a lot of sweatpants wearing, and collecting chickens as pets. She joked that as someone who once hosted a daily show, she appreciates the plight of the chicken who has to lay an egg every day. Still, most of her routine found her grappling to have become public enemy number one, a whiplash turn from her once firm reputation as the happy-go-lucky talk show host who ended each episode telling her audience to be kind to one another. She said, "What else can I tell you?" Mock reflecting on her recent past before adding sarcastically, "Oh yeah, I got kicked off out of show business. There's no mean people in show business. The be kind girl wasn't kind. I became this one-dimensional character who gave stuff away and danced up steps. Do you know how hard it is to dance up steps? Would a mean person dance up steps? Had I ended my show by saying go fuck yourself, people would have been pleasantly surprised. Well, child, can I do that? When I get my talk show, I'll be like, go fuck yourself." And ladies and gentlemen, and I want to say, go fuck yourself. But I say child darlings at the end of my show. But this one, like, to say go fuck yourself, that would be kind of funny. Because I say it with love, but go fuck yourself. But anyway, and then they said that she's still processing the experience of the scandal, both the parts she could have controlled and the parts she couldn't. She said her colleagues at the Emmy-winning talk show felt like family to her, that she had fun playing pranks with them and scaring her guests with goofy pop-up effects on stage. She also said that she was an immature boss who didn't know how to be a boss, saying, "I didn't go to business school. I went to Charlie Chuckle Hut." The show was called Ellen, and everybody was wearing t-shirts that said Ellen, but there were buildings on Warner Brothers lot that said Ellen, but I don't know that meant I should be in charge. She told us some of the vitriol she faced at the time of sexism, noting that there are consequences for not following the pre-existing rules and gender roles, referencing the cancellation of her eponymous sitcom in the 90s after she announced to the world that she was gay. She added, "Riley, for those of you keeping score, this is the second time I've been kicked out of show business. Eventually, they're going to have to kick me out a third time because I'm mean, old, and gay." The demise of her talk show seems specifically painful since she described in her set it had been her way back to being embraced after her 90s exile. "I'm giving stuff away and I dance, and then I was mean and they didn't like me again. It's been such a toll on my ego and my self-esteem. There's such extremes in this business. People either love you and idolize you or they hate you, and those people somehow are louder." And that is true. It's like, you know what? The story goes on and on because it's a long thing. She got a standing ovation. And you know what? I feel like at this point, they said that she also did Portia de Rossi came on stage and made an appearance during a Q&A at fans' request. They've been together for 16 years. I had no idea that they were together that long, but kudos to them. You know what? I definitely understand where she's coming from. I feel like Ellen was at a place where it was like, you know what? She was ostracized because of the sitcom, because they didn't want, you could not be gay in the 90s. Like she came out on her show, she came out in a magazine, what was it, People magazine, where it said, "I'm gay" in big words. And then she was like in the infamous pose, whatever, and it said, "I'm gay" across her body. And that whole situation, then they had the whole coming out episode on the Ellen show, and then the show tried to continue, but it was just that the ratings just didn't support that. And she, was kind of kicked out of Hollywood, and then she got another chance with the talk show. She rebranded herself as a personality, and people liked her. So she was sort of like, at that time, what Rosie O'Donnell was during her reign on the talk show circuit, where she was the queen of nice. And then people saw like Rosie was like a completely different person when she went on The View. So Ellen was, she got stuck in this whole situation like every day now because she did this whole little dancing routine. She had to do it every damn day. And then one of my friends said that there was a point, Celine Dijon, the drag queen, friend of mine, said, because she said she was a fan of Ellen, since the sitcom, and then, she watched the talk show. She was saying to me that at one point Ellen was ready to leave the talk show. Like she wanted to go, like she was done with the show. I know doing a talk show is a lot. Nobody wants to be doing a show for like, well, I guess Oprah does, because she did. Didn't she do her show for 25 years, and Donahue did his for over 2 decades. Like, there's people out there that do these talk shows for a long period of time. But my thing is, if that excitement, if that energy, if it's not there anymore, and y'all not willing to change up the formula and make it more exciting for me to have to do this 5 days a week, then it's like, yeah, I'd rather just walk away and just do something else. And Ellen wanted to do that, but then of course NBC comes with the Brinks truck and they back it up and they offer her all this damn money, and then it's like, well, goddamn, this is so, this is too hard to resist. Like, this bring, I would say like 25, they backing up the Brinks every year. So that's $15 million. Next year, $17 million. Now it's $20 million. Now it's $25 million. Now it's $30 million. And it's like, well, goddamn, I'm trying to leave, but y'all trying to keep me coming back because the show is doing well in the ratings. But I'm like, creatively, I'm stifled. But this money is good because I may not see any kind of money like this in my lifetime ever again. Because, when it comes to performance and being an actor, being a performer, there's no guarantees in this business. Like, you hot today and tomorrow you could be old and broke. So I don't fault her for coming back and wanting to keep collecting that money. But then again, I think what you have to realize, and I guess maybe people are realizing this now because we are in an era of self-created entrepreneurs, especially a lot of us in this podcasting space. Like me, I'm my own creation. I created this show. I'm the one that puts it together. I'm the one that produces it. I come up with the topics. I do the lower thirds. I'm doing everything. I'm pushing all the buttons over here. So, but when you bring people in to your space to help you out with those things, now you're a boss. Now you have to be the one because your name is on the marquee. People ain't paying attention to the producers and all these other people behind the scenes. They're going to blame the person that's on screen. So you're going to be the one at fault, unfortunately. And yeah, it is unfortunate that Ellen had to be put in this position. And it's like, yeah, you have to take responsibility because if your name is on the marquee, you're the one that has to take responsibility for what's going on your show because they're going to blame you. So if there's a toxic work environment that is going on your set, you need to know about it. You need to nip it in the bud. And if producers and EPs or whoever's working behind the scenes is not willing to play nice and not be making other people's situations uncomfortable, I'm firing your ass. I guess because I come from an era, my father runs a hospital ward at Hackensack University. So I understand business and what it takes to be a boss and that sort of thing. So I guess when you're in that position, I guess also artists want to be artists. They don't want to be bosses. They don't want to be entrepreneurs. But guess what? At this day and age, the way this industry is running itself and the way that the movie industry is going down the toilet and all this other stuff, I feel like at this point, a lot of celebrities, you have to wear a multitude of hats. You can't just be the talent. Now you have to be the boss. You have to be the producer. You got to wear all these different hats. You can't just come in and be like, "Where's my mark?" and come out and say your lines over teleprompter. And that's enough. The times have changed. And so I feel like the best way about her rehabilitating her career, she's on the right track. I feel like Ellen just needs to do stand-up. I feel like that is going to be the thing that's going to get her back in the good graces of the public. You come in, you talk about what happened in the whole situation, you lay your mea culpa, you take responsibility, and people will love you again. One thing I will say about Americans, for the most part, once you get past the toxicity of everything on social media, step out of that and step into the real world with people. People are a forgiving bunch if you come and you're humble about it and you show a side of yourself that you really are sincere in wanting the forgiveness. So I feel like that is what's going to happen with Ellen. I do feel like people will come around once this special comes out because, like I said, they confiscating the phones and y'all can't be seeing what she's doing. But on the show or whatever, maybe there is leaks or whatever out there on social media. I haven't seen any and I haven't looked. But for the most part, so in my mind right now, I'm just going to continue to go with there's no tea out there about this show, except for what we got from Rolling Stone. So I feel like at this point, she'll be able to, just continue to do what you're doing. You continue to work out your work, do the stand-up stuff. And you know what? People will come around and those people who love you and support you will support you. And who knows? Maybe it'll come down to, what? Don't even go back to network television. You made your bones. You made a good enough amount of money. Who knows? Maybe down the road, we'll see a podcast or something or another from Ellen, because I'm sure she's got a lot of amazing stories. She can gather up a lot of LGBTQ talent and bring them on and that y'all have some conversations and talk about what's going on in the business and stuff, because I guess we're going to finally see the real Ellen and that one outside of that character that y'all seen on TV. Because yeah, like I said, once I start super chatting and making this, monetizing this show, I can't be cussing and stuff. So when you go into certain spaces, you can't really, you can be yourself, but you got to You got to dial it back a little bit. You can't be out here using profanity and things of that nature. So good luck to you, Ellen. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to bring in regards of this special. And yeah, there's that. I did see a lot of people were not as forgiving when I posted this, when I first posted this article on my social medias. Like, people was going in. But anyway, Robert says, as a gay man, she helped us go mainstream. People forget that lesbians was the first out and proud celebrities when you couldn't be gay and male. That is true. It's like lesbians and our divas gave gays permission to kind of like feel comfortable enough to be themselves. Because yeah, in the 90s, in so many ways, there was some people that could be gay and mainstream and out and successful and stuff. Like Melissa Etheridge was very much successful. The Indigo Girls were successful in a lot of ways. Ani DeFranco was successful, who, you know, what she was doing, folk music and stuff. So there was some queer music. Tracy Chapman, you know, there was so many female musicians out here who could be gay and successful. Men, it was a lot harder. Say what now? Gerard Depardieu, he's still alive? I remember, look, I remember hearing a story about him. I think it was about an essay case. I may have to look into that, and who knows, I may do a show. I won't be able to do it tomorrow because I will be working. I believe there's a Knicks playoffs game tomorrow, so I'll be busy with that. And I gotta get my butt back to the gym. I was gonna go today because it's been 80 degrees in New York. So it was a really nice day out today. And I really want to take advantage of the weather and go work out and stuff. But I barely got any sleep last night. For some reason, my mind was racing a mile a minute and I really struggled to fall asleep. I fell asleep around 6 in the morning. And I was gonna get up around 8 because today was my day off. I was gonna get up around 8 and go to the gym or whatever. But I was like, y'all try going to the gym with no sleep and trying to work out on a treadmill or a bike or whatever the case is, or do, my deadlifts or whatever. Child, first of all, I will probably fall asleep with the weights on top of me, my chest being crushed to death. So I was like, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to just stay home. I'm going to try to rest up a little bit, take care of the dogs, and put this show together, come up with some topics and things, and do it that way. So I'll say thank you. So I feel like, you know what? That was the last topic. If anybody don't have anything else to add to the show, we are going to sign off right now. Please, before you do, hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification button, so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I want to thank you all for who was tuning in and chiming in the comments. I want to thank you all who have been watching. And also, thank you, DJ, for submitting that topic with the Flame Monroe thing, because I was thinking about it and I was like, do I want to talk about it? Do I not want to talk about it? But you know what? The universe, when somebody drops something in your lap via a text and was like, I don't know if you're online, but you maybe want to talk about this, that's me listening to the universe and being like, bitch, talk about it. So, love you all for watching. Thank you once again, all of you who support the show. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate every person that comes in, that watches, that sticks it out through the show, because I be seeing the numbers. The numbers be steady for the people who actually time in from the beginning to the end of the show. Because, people have always told me, oh no, people don't really watch a show for a full 2 hours, 3 hours. Yes, they do. People who really will want to have it on while they doing their work or whatever the case is. You got it on the background of like a podcast form or whatever the case is. People love a good talk show. I feel like more people watch like podcasts or visual shows like this and other shows more so than regular TV shows and movies. Like, people really like these podcasts and things because they've become immensely popular. And clearly I'm doing something right because my numbers be steady, Chad. So thank you once again. Thank you all for watching. And I'll probably be back on Wednesday with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. So yeah, love you all for watching, and until next time, ciao, darlings.